there's 20 guys out there, even more, that are all capable of winning. I'm going to fight to win.
I wouldn't enter a race if I didn't think I could win it.
You got to be always biting for that win.
Trust me, I want to beat these guys as badly as they want to beat me.
Firestone 550, next on the NBC Sports Network. The NBC Sports Network welcomes you to the following presentation of the IndyCar Series.
Historically, this has been the place for close finishes. 8 of 23 races here at Texas Motor Speedway have been decided by less than a tenth of a second. Dario Franchitti and Will Power split the doubleheader a year ago, but there is only one race tonight and one winner. Welcome to IndyCar Central on the NBC Sports Network, presented by Verizon. The command to start engines for the Firestone 550, the 7th race of the 2012 Eyes on IndyCar season, is less than 45 minutes away. Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Jenkins, and welcome to Texas. We have this Penske-Ganassi thing going again in IndyCar this year. Team Penske won the first 4 races. Target Chip Ganassi has won the last 2. We are in the midst of 4 oval races separated by last weekend's event on the temporary circuit at Belle Isle. Now, all of the oval track events that are in this series have different configurations and are of different size. But since last October, Townsend Bell, this is the one that the drivers have been talking about on a 1.5-mile high-banked oval.
Yeah, Bob, you're not kidding. I mean, it's been, what, 6 months, 8 months since Vegas. We've all been thinking about this, not just healing from the tragedy, but also thinking about our concerns about this kind of racetrack. The basic issue, too much track for these cars. We can't change the racetrack. We've had to change the cars. We're going to go in depth a little later and find out more about that.
All right, thanks, Townsend. The Indianapolis 500, which was the first oval race of the year, had 34 lead changes. Now, as far as here at Texas is concerned, the last 5 races have been won by Target Chip Ganassi Racing or Team Penske. But as you can see, there have been 5 different drivers. Well, last week at Belle Isle, Scott Dixon started from the pole, took the lead at the start of the race, and never looked back.
The 2012 Belle Isle Grand Prix.
Scott Dixon, he has led from the drop of the green flag. Right now he's putting on the clinic, 10.6 seconds to lead. Whoa, no trouble for James Hinchcliffe. We are going to be coming up on a red flag situation. These giant pieces of this tar have been ripped up, and it was like playing Russian roulette, and I just pulled the bullet.
Can you believe that they got this track repaired?
We'll have a 13-lap shootout. We're racing once again. Rain is falling.
And everybody's on slicks.
Lots of guys spinning around simply because the track is so wet right now.
Dixon in front, and look at Dario Franchitti has shot up to second.
Scott Dixon has won in grand fashion as he leads all 60 laps.
Another 1-2 for the team 2 weeks in a row, which is fantastic. Big day for points, which helps us immensely for the chase on Wilder.
All right, thank you, Bob. And Scott Dixon is here with us, and so are a few of your friends. We're in the IndyCar Fan Village outside Turn 1 here at Texas Motor Speedway. Scott has passed Johnny Rutherford. The next guy on the pecking order is Rick Mears, your 28th career win. Let's go back to Detroit. We saw the piece there. How close did you come to one of those chuck holes or a piece of pavement derailing you?
It was definitely tough. You know, I think one thing I was surprised about is possibly how early we started seeing it. You know, it was probably 15 laps before we actually got the caution. And in my situation, we didn't want to get the yellow because we knew some people had already pitted. So the last thing he wanted was to go out of sequence and then go to the back of the field. But I hit a piece in turn 13, which launched the car pretty good. But luckily enough, we didn't make contact with the wall. But, you know, I think you got to hand it to, you know, everybody that worked at Detroit on the track and getting it back. You know, it was only a 15-lap shootout to make a full 60 laps. But, you know, a lot of places just want to rerun. So it was great to put on a show for the fans. And it's something that you can never plan for. And, you know, I was a bit disappointed, obviously, for how it turned out for them. But all in all, it was a great day for Target, a 1-2 finish.
So we're back to the ovals now, and there have been serious concerns coming into this race. What are the concerns specifically?
You know, I think obviously after how and you know what happened last year, I think there's concerns for safety and things like that. But you know, I know this weekend it's definitely positive. The league's come back, and we've made a few changes to the car to take some downforce off, which has definitely helped. You know, I don't think it's going to be one big pack like it typically is, but I think the racing is going to be better. It's going to be more pure. You're going to see passes actually being completed, opposed to, you know, sort of sitting beside each other and not going anywhere. So, you know, there's a lot of different things going on. You know, there's talk about fences and ways to improve, but, you know, we learn from these things, and things can't be changed straight away. But, you know, obviously in the future we can make improvements to these tracks.
So the cars are harder to drive now, so what kind of challenge does that present for you?
Oh, there's so many challenges. It's much harder. Even in qualifying, you know, it's kind of fun because you're constantly having to drive the car. You know, here you'd sort of come into qualifying, you just follow the white line, and hopefully you had a slightly better engine or a slightly better setup to actually get to the front, whereas now you've got to really hustle the car. So, you know, tonight you're going to see a lot of people coming and going. There's going to be a lot of degradation in the tires, and something that we're not used to. So I think the key to tonight is being consistent, making sure you can work on the car, make it change over the period of the race, especially when we get into the dark. But making sure you get to the final lap and try and have a shootout there at the end.
I think these people are ready here. Any Scott Dixon fans with us? Yeah. All right, Scott finished a runner-up in both races last year. Good luck tonight, starting fourth.
Appreciate it.
That's Scott Dixon. As we look at the championship, Scott is very much in the chase right now, back within 26 of willpower. And take a look at his teammate, Dario Franchitti. He was 13th after 3 races. Now he's within reach as well. And how about Oriol Servia, 10th in the championship? His best start coming into this race was 16th. Remember, he started the first 4 races with the underpowered Lotus engine, but he's been charging through the field so far this season, including a 5th and a 4th place finish. And that's one of his phrases. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, and that's what Oriol has been doing. He's gained 73 positions from the start of races so far, and he's going to have his best start of 11th coming up today. He's in the Valspar colors for Panther, Dreyer, and Reinbold Racing. And here's a look at Oriol getting set to get geared up here tonight. This race that starts here in about 40 minutes or so. Let's take a look at our pole sitter now. Wait a minute. We recognize Bronte Tagliani and Alex Tagliani win in Texas. Dressed as Texans. He's got the boots, and he will lead the field for the 2nd year in a row here in Texas.
IndyCar Central on NBC Sports Network is presented by Verizon, official wireless partner of the IZOD IndyCar Series.
Call Star Indy for live in-car cameras, driver pit crew chatter, and more. Download IndyCar Mobile only from Verizon. Well, tonight is the 24th time IndyCar has raced here at Texas Motor Speedway, and 16th consecutive season with some of the best finishes in races in IndyCar history, and 8 have been decided by less than a 1/10 of a second. Well, as Townsend Bell mentioned, there have been serious concerns by drivers expressed here in the last several months. And while it's been fantastic for fans, and we love this event, it can be more than a little bit unsettling for the drivers. Brian Briscoe may have said it best from their perspective. We love coming here, but we're also happy when we leave. And this is also the first 1.5 miles that IndyCar has raced in since Dan Weldon was killed in a 15-car crash last October at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. What has often distinguished the 1.5 mile ovals has been pack racing, with the cars stuck to the track with high levels of downforce and cars all running in a tight group. And the design of the fence at tracks like this one in Vegas, with the support poles on the inside of the fence rather than on the outside like Indianapolis, has been a point of contention as well. However, safety expert Dean Sicking of the University of Nebraska, who developed the safer barrier, says the position of the pole has a minuscule impact. And Texas Motor Speedway President Eddie Gossage says they've consulted multiple fencing experts and engineers, and no one has yet been able to suggest a safer option than what they have right now. Our IndyCar insider Robin Miller joins us. All right, what are you hearing from the drivers?
Kevin, they've said all along since last October, look, we don't want flat-out racing anymore in these 1.5 miles. We want some separation. We want to put the driver more back in the car. And I think when you've had some of these great finishes, everybody's been running wide open in a pack. You can't get out of the throttle. Guys drive a little crazy sometimes like that. So they said, take downforce out. That's what they've been screaming at. Take downforce out. Put the driver back in the car. And I think that's what we're going to see at Texas. And you can hear the drivers. They're all weighing in on what they think is going to happen right here tonight.
The biggest concern was pack racing, you know, being 4 wide and 6 cars deep, sat in the pack, just not really going anywhere.
There is nothing against the promoter or against the event. It's a great event. It's just the layout of the track with the combination of the downforce that we decided that we wanted to run to begin with that was making the pack race. So we know now that we can definitely make a non-pack race if we want to.
We felt we needed to be driving the cars a little bit more and a bit more involved than just sat there wide open hoping that nothing happens. So, IndyCar's been very receptive.
They asked us for our recommendations. They said during the session, after the session, let us know what you guys think. And I think we're just a little light, just a little bit. I mean, we're far from flat, and I think we just need a little more to make it a really good raceable package.
And ultimately, it's down to IndyCar. They're the ones that need to protect us from ourselves.
They tested here in May. They were wide open. They told IndyCar we want some changes. They had a drivers-only meeting in Detroit on Thursday night. They met with Will Phillips, who's the tech chief for IndyCar, on Saturday at Detroit. And they came here with all these new aero changes, and guess what? The drivers back in the car, they're getting what they want.
All right, Robin, thank you. And keep in mind, this is a brand new car, a completely different design. Jan Bikas has more.
And Kevin, of course, the car's appearances have changed dramatically because of the safety design concept of not letting wheels interlock. So you have very wide side pods and a wide under tray that physically stops the wheels from interlocking, not what you had last year running on high-speed ovals or any tracks for that matter. But let's talk about what has changed specifically for here at Texas, and it's mostly aerodynamic. First, turning to the top of the side pod, a side pod top deck cover. Doesn't look like much. You may not run them here. That takes away downforce and adds quite a bit of drag. At the rear wheels themselves, you have these infills. These are actually very productive aerodynamic devices. You may not run these here like you could in Indianapolis. That's about 50 pounds of downforce and a lot of drag because the air now comes through those rear tires and turbulently comes out the back of the car. A huge change from a downforce standpoint, we talked about it a little bit at Indy, are these under tray side panels. They go right here. That allows the air to escape. That's about 250 or more pounds of downforce loss. And finally, yes, the rear wing. The rear wing angle we've mentioned is key to speed and to downforce. At Indianapolis, you could run minus 10.5 degrees. You can still run minus 10.5 degrees here, but you now cannot wind it up as much as you want for the race. The maximum you can run is minus 5. So what does this all add up to? These cars have 400 to 500 pounds less downforce than Indy to make up for the steep banking here at Texas. Well, look how sensitive these cars are. This little wicker was added just before the final practice. Will Power says just by adding this, it tips the car over between being a car you can drive flat out or one that you have to lift, showing these cars are ultra sensitive aerodynamically.
IndyCar listened to the drivers. They made the changes. After the first practice session, drivers started complaining. The engineers said, what do you expect? They're never happy. They're drivers.
Thank you, Robin. More coming up with Robin in a little bit. There's some of the drivers getting set to go, conversing, talking before this race. We'll hear from Will Power and Dario Franchitti coming up in just a moment. You're watching IndyCar Central on NBC Sports Network, presented by Verizon.
Wheel-to-wheel racing.
This is going to be intense.
We're underway at Texas Motor Speedway. Oh, it's going to be a close battle, but it is Dario Franchitti by 5/100ths of a second.
I don't think any of us like the lottery aspect of just drawing. We're here fighting for the championship, and now Will's drawn 3, and I've drawn 28. So that could have a detrimental effect on the championship.
Will Power, his 13th career win and his 3rd win of the season.
We can execute and win ovals as well as road courses, so this is what we need to win a championship.
We got host tonight, so I hope we don't lose the championship by that many points, because I'll be pissed off.
Well, Dario Franchitti was not very happy here last year, despite winning race number 1. Will Power was very pleased with how things went. Certainly emotion still running high this year. Let's hear from the drivers first. Townsend Bell.
Yeah, Kevin, last time I stood this close to Will Power, we were in Las Vegas. He was in his car with a broken back, and I was looking in his eyes trying to see if he was okay. Will, it's been a long time since then, but those thoughts are still with us. Did you want to come here tonight?
You know, I think with the series changing the formula definitely makes it safer, that we're more spread out. You know, I mean, I think it can be a good race. I just think everyone has got to give each other respect.
If you were to pick one big picture thing to think about tonight, what is that going into this race?
Staying out of other people's accidents, just staying out of trouble. I haven't had a good, clean oval race for probably 5 races.
Looking to run all day, guys. He's starting 5th. It's willpower.
Dario, we got a great clip of you qualifying yesterday. Some say squirrely, you say a little loose.
I think that might have been practice. No, that was loose. That was turn 4 there. I bottomed out and lost all the rear, and about piled it in the wall on lap 3 yesterday. So I came in and had a little discussion with Simmons, and we made some changes.
He was funny. He says, oh, the drivers got what they wanted. But you were pretty cool after qualifying. You're like, look, it's pretty close to being maybe too loose, but the good guys are going to figure it out. And I think that's everybody wants to see that.
Well, you can make it push if you want. You make it understeer, but you're going, you can fix either end. But basically, you're grip limited here, and that's what we want. You have to lift if the car isn't perfect. If the car is perfect after 20 laps, you're going to be lifting. That's what we want. The control's in our hands here. So the guy that does the best job tonight, they're probably going to end up winning it.
A couple, 3 weeks ago, you were 13th at a point. Suddenly, you're almost tied for 3rd. You think Will hears those footsteps coming, son?
I don't know. There's some pretty big Kiwi footsteps in front of me. Dixon's doing a hell of a job. And, we're just, as usual, Robin, one race at a time, man. And trust me, I wasn't thinking about the championship when we won at Indy. And but I'm happy we seem to have a bit of a roll. 1-2 for Team Target last 2 weeks. And see if we can get this Energizer car up front tonight.
He's trying to tie Jimmy Johnson, Kevin. We're going to call him 5-time. Right now, he's just 4-time.
All right, thank you, Robin. Townsend Bell's going to stay with us down there near the grid. We've got an all-star cast with us here on the stage. Jan Vigas, one of our analysts, and we welcome Tommy Kendall, the 4-time SCCA Trans Am chap, filling in for Wally Dallenbach, who's on assignment here tonight. All right, TK, I'll start with you. We've been racing here for a long time. Why so much angst now? Why so much discussion?
Well, I mean, October 16th, the accident that took Dan Weldon from us shook this group of drivers to their core. And you have guys that used to turn into corners at 250 miles an hour in places like Michigan and California, scared, really scared. And so, and 8 months later, it's still a bit of an exposed nerve. So you have guys tweeting things that they wouldn't ordinarily say and just fixating on things like the fence, that barring a quantum leap forward like the safer barrier, aren't going to change that much. But bottom line, it's a scary place. I remember watching races from here and just cringing at some of the stuff that went on. I likened it to chewing on the end of a gun barrel. But over time, you kind of get numb to that and you just go about your business. Well, that accident on October 16th ripped that veil of denial that we'd wrapped ourselves in clear off.
Yeah, we've been watching, closing our eyes at some times, but what about drivers in this race? Townsend Bell has raced here before. What do you think, Townsend?
Man, I have so much mixed feelings. I mean, this kind of race, this mile-and-a-half oval, the first time I did one of these, I felt like I was driving for a paycheck. I needed the money. And I feel for these guys, but so much has changed, as we've talked about, since Vegas on the car setup. This is going to be a fun race, I think. I'm now standing out here going, man, I kind of wish I was out there. I just don't think we need that pack racing. Baseball doesn't need brawls to be interesting. I know fans love brawls, but we don't need that. Let's go back to good racing, good talent, and the best guy at the end of the day is going to win this race. I'm pumped up to watch this.
Jan, we've talked about both sides of the fence issue, but that is still a concern with drivers.
It definitely is. And one thing we always know as drivers, and that is that any kind of racetrack you go to, it doesn't matter on the fence configuration. If you get into trouble and you get up into any fence, it is going to be ugly. And one of the first things that Tommy and I did when we got here after all the talk in the press is to go look at the fencing itself. And I was surprised, Tommy. The one thing I noticed right away was that the cables that run, that really support the cars, that would keep from that glancing blow that would go and keep a car off the pole, those are actually on the track side. The actual fencing itself is not really something that's load-bearing. So when you hear the engineers saying moving the fence to the inside or the outside has a minimal difference, now I know why, because it's those supporting cables. And what you hope, obviously, is cars don't get in the fence, but I think that IndyCar is doing exactly what they should, and that is everything they can do with the cars on the track to keep them ever getting there.
Well, there are some drivers like Scott Dixon that really like taking away downforce. Others, like Ed Carpenter, aren't sure that they like this new package.
I mean, we've been talking about it a lot, but I've been in the minority, I think, with all the mile-and-a-half and high bank racing stuff. I think, I try to look at it from the same perspective as them. We need it to be safe and don't need a repeat of what happened last October. But we also need to make sure fans love this type of racing. There's hardcore road course fans and there's hardcore oval fans, and the oval fans love this type of racing, so we still need to cater to everybody, and that's what's great about IndyCar. So, you know, a long time ago there was pack racing here, but for me, like, since 2006, it hadn't really been pack racing here, so I just didn't feel the need to totally change everything we've done, the way we've done it, you know, but I'm still hopeful we'll go out and put on a good race, you know, but it should be interesting about lap 50 on the tires, I think.
Well, he brings up a good point. If you'd listened to all the talk, you would have thought nobody liked racing here. Well, except the droves of fans that have been coming to Texas for years, the biggest crowd outside of Indy. So the question is, will they like this new formula? We know from Indianapolis that you can have a spectacular race with this kind of a setup. Now we just have to get the formula right.
Townsend, what do you expect tonight?
I expect talent. I expect really, really challenging situations. I mean, I've heard anywhere from 20 to 30 laps, the tires are going to start falling off big time, and the guys are going to be up on the wheel, as they say, ready to drive. The ability to adjust and figure it out, this new scenario, on the fly is what we get paid for. That's what separates the good guys from the great guys, and that's what I'm looking for tonight, is a real car race.
Jan? Townsend, when you talk about what's happening with those tires, you heard Ed Carpenter, or you hear the engineers saying, we are on uncharted territories because they have not run these tires all the way through a stint. So if you have someone running 50 laps on tires, now you have lighter downforce. It's the unknown. And just like Townsend was saying, that's when drivers earn their money, they earn their spots, and that's what everyone's hoping for. They want the best driver to excel at the end, but it's going to be touchy.
All right, thank you, Jan. Tommy, we'll see you guys up in the booth a little bit later. We'll hear more from Townsend and Robin Miller in the grid run coming up in just a little bit. Just about ready to go here at Texas Motor Speedway. There's Ed Carpenter, who won last year at Kentucky.
The greatest spectacle in racing.
Dario Franchitti has spun on pit lane.
It happened early. We got plenty of time to recover.
Franchitti going for the lead. Franchitti takes it.
You've got the two targets up front, but here comes TK.
Wow, Dixon's back to the front. Back and forth they go.
Another pass.
Yeah, here we go. Dario Franchitti will move to the inside of his teammate.
30 lead changes, a new record here at the Indianapolis 500.
We got a spin.
That's Ed Carpenter. What heartbreak.
4 wide now. Canal will go for the lead and one. He's got it.
Yellow crash in turn 1. Marco Andretti.
Don't lie, we play like gold fighters. We're playing at the end.
To the inside, just like that, Dario takes the lead. Takuma Sato making a move. 1 to go at the line. Sato looks to the inside. Side by side. Sato spins. He hit the wall.
And Dario Franchitti, the 3-time winner at Indianapolis.
This means the world. This is Indianapolis, man, and 3 times, and to be on the trophy beside Dan, either side, that's more important than anything.
Wow, I think most of us are still buzzing about the 500, a record 34 lead changes. We've certainly had our share of lead changes here over the years. The most, 32, more than a decade ago.
Next to last lap, who will it be when they come around again? Cornish has got to make a move here soon. At the line, he's got it! Oh my gosh, what a finish! Unbelievable! Oh my goodness! Sam Hornish Jr. wins the closest finish in history.
There's our man Bob Jenkins with the call on that one of the many great calls he's had over the years. Hoping for another one like that coming up tonight. Let's find out what the drivers think. They are gathered down on the grid. That's where we're going to find our Robin Miller. Time for the grid run, Robin.
Amazing. We have drivers for the first time all year. Job done. Hello, Mr. Sato. I'm sorry, we're on live television. Brother, you made a lot of fans at Indy. Your new nickname is Hero Man. How are you going to do tonight?
Well, I think we're going to be the same things. I think we're going to be pushing all the way through, especially we have to start from the back of the grid because the engine changed. But we're looking really strong, so I'm confident.
You got a lot more fans than you started with, brother. You're doing good. All right, here we go. Randall Bernard. Are we going to be back here racing next year, brother? What do you think?
Well, we'll see after this race what we can do. We hope to be.
Are we going to go to China? If we don't go to China, will there be another race at the end of the year?
We will make that decision this next week, too.
Spoken like a CEO. I like that. All right, there's Anthony Joseph Foyt. I'm not talking to him. He's mad at me. Hell, most of these owners are mad at me. There's Castro Neves. Mr. Castro Neves. Hey, Aren't you at ABC? Hello, son.
Hi.
Okay, you got a lot of work to do.
Yes.
You like the way your car feels?
I do.
Do you like the fact that you're going to be in more control than you were in these races before?
Well, I wouldn't say more control, but we're going to try.
No, you're a veteran. Of course you're going to be in more control.
Yeah, certainly we like that. So we are happy that everything's working out the way we asked for.
See, you should have driven a sprint car. You'd have liked this better. All right, here we go. Here we go. Who we got on the set? Viso, come here, son. Now, this guy right here is talking about running a sprint car in a couple weeks in Bloomington. Tonight's going to be like a sprint car because it's going to be sideways, yes?
It's going to be the same, but in tarmac. It's going to be fun. A lot of new changes for this race, and we're going to watch a very fun race.
Are you going to tell your owner, Kevin Calcover, when you go around in the dirt, you're going to go by a pseudo name when you race?
Well, he likes to stay clean, and he's not going to get his shoes dirty. So
okay, kid, good luck. All right, I'm doing good. I haven't lost my... There's Ryan Hunter-Ray. Hello, young man.
What's up?
Well, we're trying to figure out, half the drivers like this new deal, half don't. What's your vote?
I'll tell you at the end of the night. Nobody's really done a full stint on tires yet, so everything feels nice, warm, and comfy at 25 laps, but at 50 laps it could be a whole different ballgame. Hopefully the Andretti cars are sorted out and we can move to the front. This could be fun, so we'll see.
Okay, thanks, Ryan. It could be fun. That means they're not really sure, but maybe. Now, who's up here? Where's your driver? Where's Barrichello? I don't know. I can't find anybody. All right, 45 seconds. We're running out of time. I'm running out of patience. Don't we have a driver here? Where's our boy Pagano? Where is he? Oh. Who's over here? Well, we did pretty good. Now the drivers are... Oh, there's Ryan Briscoe. Mr. Briscoe, and your lovely wife, you've won this race before. What do you think about tonight?
It'll be interesting. It's a new ball game at this place with the downforce we're running, so we're going to have to look after tyres tonight, and it'll certainly look a lot different late in the stint than it will at the beginning.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks.
RP, no hugging the women. This is live television, brother. We're going to have you take us to break again like you did at Mid-Ohio.
Well, we're excited about tonight, and good luck, and have a safe race, and you guys are doing a great job. Thanks.
See, it's my paycheck. Roger Penske, thanks for your time. All right, we're going to go back to you guys. Don't run away. Come back to NBC Sports. Give me some oxygen. Great race coming up.
IndyCar Central on NBC Sports Network is presented by Verizon, official wireless partner of the IZOD IndyCar Series. Well, the skydivers are landing, 2 of them already on the ground, and here come a couple of more. Part of the pre-race ceremonies going on here before the start of our race tonight. Beautiful evening in Texas. We had rain here on Thursday, but since then it has been just very, very nice as far as weather is concerned. The color guard is in place, and let's go now to the public address for the opening ceremonies.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats for the presentation of colors by the Keller ISD Air Force Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps. And please remain standing for the invocation offered tonight by Dr. Roger Marsh of Texas Alliance Raceway Ministries.
Heavenly Father, as we stand before you here tonight, we pause to acknowledge your presence and your power and the incredible love that you have for every one of us. And Father, we thank you for a beautiful evening that you've given to us to enjoy the excitement of racing here at the Great American Speedway. Father, we would be remiss if we didn't give thanks for the freedoms that we enjoy here in the United States of America. And we pray right now for all of our troops, our heroes around the world as they protect those freedoms. And now, Father, as we turn our attention to tonight's event, we thank you for the excitement of IZOD IndyCar Series racing. And we pray that you would protect every one of the drivers as they compete tonight. Thank you for the sponsors. Thank you for the spectators. All this I pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
And now to perform tonight's national anthem, Master Sergeant Douglas Compton, United States Marine Corps retired.
Some T-38s from Shepherd Air Force Base, Wichita Falls, Texas, which of course was the hometown of the great Lloyd Ruby. Well, hi again, everybody, with Tommy Kendall, who again is filling in for Wally Dallenbach and Jan Beekes. I'm Bob Jenkins. We heard a spirited discussion, a very thorough and interesting discussion about aerodynamics and tires and all that. But let's cut to the chase, Tommy. How do you feel as a driver as you're about to get into one of these things tonight?
Well, they're anxious, just like the changes, aim to put more into the driver's hands. All the buildup, the most calm you are is when you roll off. Visor goes down, all of a sudden all the buildup is over, and it's time, and your heart rate actually drops. I expect to see a race. We don't really know what we're going to expect, but I think the line's going to move all over the place. They're going to be working all the controls inside. Best case scenario, we could have a race like Milwaukee, where we have cars coming to the front, going to the back, but all at 210 miles an hour.
And Tommy, of course, we've talked so much about aerodynamics. We've talked about grip. One story we haven't had a chance to really touch on is engines. Now, remember, at Indianapolis, Honda raised the bar by far. They saved some engines, were specific for Indianapolis, and really kind of put it to Chevrolet with so much more power. But interestingly, those engines are in the cars tonight, but two of them have had failures. Takuma Sato and Joseph Newgarden have lost those Honda power plants. So now, if you're a Honda driver, if you're Dario Franchitti, Scott Dixon, for example, you got to be just that little bit more nervous.
Well, we just saw Alex Tagliani, the surprise pulse there. All the talk about the changes. Usually the big teams get to come to grips with those quickest. One-car team, lone driver, not a big name on the pole. I can tell you, if he can hang on, it'll be a popular win.
It will be a very popular win. Well, thank you for joining us for IndyCar Central on the NBC Sports Network, presented by Verizon. The command to start engines, and the start coming up. Six races into the 2012 IndyCar season, and one common theme has been the dominance of Team Penske and Chip Ganassi Racing. Beginning at St. Pete, Elio Castroneves came out strong and won the debut race of the DW12 chassis. In Birmingham, Will Power began a winning streak of 3 races in a row, all topped off with Ryan Briscoe claiming pole at Indianapolis. But that dominance ended on race day when it was the Ganassi drivers who stole the show, leading lap after lap, with Dario Franchitti holding off a late charge from Takuma Sato.
Sato taking a peek. Dario Franchitti's going to win the 500.
And teammate Scott Dixon continuing that streak a week later in Detroit.
Scott Dixon has won as he leads all 60 laps.
Today, the teams return to Texas, where last year's entertaining format saw 2 different winners, but today there's only room for 1 star. The NBC Sports Network, glad that you could join us for the Firestone 550, the 7th of 16 races in the Eyes on IndyCar schedule for 2012 here at Texas Motor Speedway. As you can see, lots of fans are on hand, and in just a moment, we're going to get the command to start engines for this event. Now, the start will be delayed just slightly because there was a problem with the stage, and Townsend Bell is down there and can better describe what happened.
Yeah, Bob, I was standing on pit lane. We heard a crash. I turned around and looked over. There's a gentleman that's probably an event assistant. The background of the stage fell as they were pulling the whole thing apart to move it out of the way. It clearly landed on him, but he's moving. He's going to be fine, I believe. They stabilized his neck. I've seen him move his arms and his legs. He's talking to the medical officials. They're here to help him. We're going to be a few minutes delayed, but good news is he's going to be okay. Last thing we expected before the start of this race.
Yeah, that's for sure, but let's do hope that everything is going to be okay with that worker. The drivers are in their cars, and so when the command does go out, it will be just a few moments before the race will get underway. But right now we're in a bit of a hole. There's Dario Franchitti's car as he gets set to compete for 228 laps. That equals 342 miles or 550 kilometers. It's 88 degrees, still warm, but the humidity is not all that bad at 43%. The winds are from the southeast at 13 miles an hour, so it's blowing down the backstretch and up the front stretch, and the forecast is for partly cloudy skies. Well, while we do have this delay before we get going. We're going to take a break and be back in just a moment for the command to start the engines. Stay with us here on the NBC Sports Network. The Firestone 550 on NBC Sports Network is brought to you by Firestone, the first name in Indy racing. Novolog FlexPen. Ask your healthcare provider about the benefits of FlexPen today. And by Sleep In. Dream better here. Book now at sleepin.com. Always an enthusiastic crowd comes here to watch the Eyes-On IndyCar Series in action on the high banks of Texas Motor Speedway. One of the famous Texan drivers about to give the command.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to meet your Grand Marshal. Racing out of Houston, Texas since the 1950s, he holds the IndyCar record for the most wins and the most national championships. He was also the first four-time winner of the Indianapolis 500, and as a car owner, he won at his home track, Texas Motor Speedway, in 1998. Now, with those most famous words in motorsports, please welcome racing legend A.J. Foyt.
Boys and girls, start your engines.
I knew it wouldn't be the traditional drivers or ladies and gentlemen start your engines, but A.J. Foyt gets things underway here at this facility. All right, let's quickly go down to our pit reporters. First of all, here's Robin Miller.
Bobby, the Indy 500 was a great race because we had a lot of drivers coming from the back to the front. Hopefully that's what we're going to see tonight. This guy, Joseph Newgarden, was one of the fastest guys in practice all week. Guess what? He blew up, has to start last. He's going to try and go to the front, Townsend Bell.
I'm sure he is. I'm here with Elio Castroneves, guy to watch tonight. Did not have a great Indy 500. He's starting 15th. I told him, get high early. He said, I am, man. Watch out. So big things from him, Kevin.
Here's Alex Tagliani starting on the pole as he did last year. He said, my season started over when we got new Honda power after Brazil for Indianapolis. He's somebody to watch. Hasn't won since Elkhart Lake, Road America a few years ago. And Graham Rahal says it's time for us to get another win. He won the opener at St. Pete, his first race in this series. He might be the fastest car here. He's going to roll off third.
A mini pit walk there, huh, Kevin? Way to go. Well, don't miss a chance to get out on Honda's fastest seat in sports sweepstakes. Enter by logging on to shophonda.com. This week's lucky winner is Jeff Cox from Dayton, Ohio. By logging on to shophonda.com, Jeff won the opportunity to start today's race in the Eyes-On two-seater driven by another racing legend, Mario Andretti. The cars are moving, and here is a starting grid. Alex Tagliani on the pole with Dario Franchitti alongside. Second row, Graham Rahal, his best start for 2012, and Scott Dixon, the winner last week. Will Power, who won his first oval track race here a year ago, fifth, and James Hinchcliffe is sixth. Seventh and eighth, Tony Kanaan and Marco Andretti. Simon Pagenaud will start on the inside of row number 5 alongside of Ryan Briscoe. Oriol Servia and Rubens Barrichello in 11th and 12th. And Ryan Hunter-Ray and E.J. Biso starts 13th and 14th. And as you can see, Rubens Barrichello's car has not started yet. We'll go through the rest of the starting grid and watch carefully to see if that car can get underway. There have been 17 different winners in 23 races here at Texas. Elio Castroneves is the only multiple winner in tonight's field. Farthest back, by the way, that a winner has ever started was 13th. That was in September of 1998 when John Paul Jr. won the race. Starting in 13th position tonight is Ryan Hunter-Ray. All right, we have 6 onboard cameras that will complement our coverage for you tonight. Here's the car from Charlie Kimball, the Novolog FlexPen onboard camera. He'll start 16th. Starting in 11th position with the Chevy onboard camera is Oriol Servia. Starting 9th is Simon Pagenaud in the HP-sponsored onboard camera. Tony Kanaan will carry an onboard from 7th position. Dario Franchitti will start in second position and has the Verizon onboard camera. And it wasn't working just a moment ago, but now J.R. Hildebrand's onboard camera is working in the National Guard-sponsored car. He will start in the 23rd position. And the Honda two-seater is up to speed now. And Mario Andretti giving a thrill of a lifetime to Jeff Cox from Dayton, Ohio. And again, you can win by logging on to shophonda.com and get the opportunity to start today's race in the IZOD two-seater driven by Mario Andretti. And let's get down to Townsend.
Yeah, Bob, Rubens Barrichello, the worst way to start an event. This is AJ Voigt's nightmare. You got laptops out left, right, and center with all the Chevy guys trying to get this car fired. They're pulling all the bodywork off. It's clearly some sort of electronic issue. And apparently Simona did not start either.
So suddenly, instead of a 25-car field that we have about to take the green flag, it's down to 23. Simona De Silvestro in the only Lotus-powered car has not started, and neither has Rubens Barrichello. There's the onboard look from J.R. Hildebrand. Everybody getting lined up side by side. Alex Tagliani in the number 98 car from Brian Herta, Barracuda Racing, and Dario Franchitti flanking him to the right. 24 degrees of banking here at Texas Motor Speedway. The backstretch and the dog leg here on the front stretch banked at 5 degrees. The qualifying speed, well, above 212 miles an hour, but a nice formation here as the field is perfectly aligned coming off of corner number 4, and the green flag is waving. Here we go. Three abreast racing there in the middle of the pack as they come off corner number 2 and onto the backstretch. Alex Tagliani has the lead down the backstretch into turn number 3. Tagliani followed by Dario Franchitti. Third position belongs to Scott Dixon, and then Graham Rahal and James Hinchcliffe battling for that 4th position.
Oh, Tony Kanaan, who we're on board with, just had to lift. Now watch the momentum. He should get just swallowed from behind. The moment you have to lift this early, it takes a long time to get that momentum back.
So he drops to 7th position because of the lift.
Comes Dixon.
Yeah, the battle up front. Scott Dixon has taken over 2nd position from his teammate. Dixon, with just an incredible performance at Belle Isle last Sunday, looks for 2 victories in a row this season.
And Tommy, what I'm noticing already is there are some cars that can run near the white line. There are other cars that can't get anywhere near it.
Well, and it's also it's chassis dependent. Depending on how your car is handling, you can move around to mask certain characteristics.
Ryan Hunter-Reay has gained 3 positions here in the early going. He's in that yellow and white car on the top of the racetrack, up above Ryan Briscoe. Kevin.
Andretti Autosport is one of the few teams that did not test here, so they came in here blind. We were very limited in practice time, and look at Hunter-Reay trying to go to the high side. Great racing so far. He's going to get around Ryan Briscoe for the spot. Hunter-Reay was guessing a little bit in practice, but he felt good in the night practice. Still cautiously optimistic, though, but he looks great so far.
Hunter-Reay moves up a position to 9th now, dropping Ryan Briscoe back to 10th position.
And Kanaan has regrouped from that big lift and is now knocking on the back door of James Hinchcliffe.
That would be for the 7th position. Meanwhile, Alex Tagliani from the pole continues to lead. And the advantage over Scott Dixon is about 0.2 of a second. The best battle on the racetrack continues to be Ryan Hunter-Reay. Up on the top side. And here's Takuma Sato with Ed Carpenter as they battle wheel to wheel. And that is for the 17th position.
Look at Mike Conway coming red, white, and blue. That's, of course, A.J. Foyt's car. He's powering through it now. Teammates side by side. Well, Hunter-Reay definitely has got the setup for the start of this race.
He said it could be fun. It's looking fun so far for Ryan Hunter-Reay.
Battling for 7th position. Side by side all over the racetrack. Ed Carpenter now with an advantage on Takuma Sato, 17th and 18th on the right part of your screen. And here comes Carpenter up to battle Charlie Kimball. Meanwhile, Ryan Hunter-Reay has moved up yet another position.
Sato in your mirror.
Getting around James Hinchcliffe, and now Ryan Hunter-Reay in 7th spot.
Now both these two drivers in the frame, although we go back to Sato now to watch this battle on board with Hildebrand, who is able to get to the underside of Sato, but look at the way the momentum changes. Now Sato's on the way back.
J.R. Hildebrand has moved up 5 spots from his starting position.
Outside, clear.
Remember, Hildebrand had that huge moment qualifying. Big dial of opposite lock, put him way towards the back.
And we understand that Simona De Silvestro will not be able to start the race here tonight.
Hey, Bobby?
Yeah.
I talked to J.R. Hildebrand before the race, and he said, you know, I've had some big moments in IndyCars and I've hit the wall, but he said yesterday was amazing. He goes, I couldn't believe I didn't hit the wall. And whatever they figured out, he likes what he's doing right now because he's moving forward.
And here's another. Oh, look at the big wiggle by Franchitti again.
Wow.
Man.
And that highlights the part of the track that's given the drivers the most trouble when it's transitioning from entering the corners and when the banking flattens out coming off the corners is where the back end really wants to hop out. You know, we're early in the race, but we could already be seeing some of the early effects of the tires starting to give up their edge.
Now look what happened a lap ago.
Wow. You need fast hands for that.
Guys, that's not going to get any easier. There's a bump right there, but as these tires wear out, that's going to be a much, much bigger issue.
Alex Tagliani is leading his second race this season. He did lead 2 laps in this year's Indianapolis 500. Alex Tagliani, your leader, by just a few car lengths over Scott Dixon, as Rubens Barrichello's car also goes back to the garage area. Back in a moment. Welcome back to the Firestone 550 from Texas Motor Speedway. That is Dario Franchitti, and he has fallen all the way back to 7th position after running a strong second in the early laps. Other guys who are having problems include E.J. Viso, who has dropped back to 17th position.
Another big wiggle out of Dario. This, kind of like I was saying in Milwaukee, it was like clockwork. Certain cars 20 laps in would go big time loose and just drop like a rock.
Oh,
that's mid-corner. That's
not the banking. That's just the balance.
That's not
completely gone off. Here's Hildebrand. This is coming off. This is what. Wow, that was a big save.
A double save.
Yeah, very similar to what happened in qualifying for.
Wow.
And now Hildebrand has come up to challenge E.J. Viso. Charlie Kimball also in this shot. This is JR's on board. He's up to 18th.
To give you an idea how far the speeds are falling off, Tagliani, who's still out front, his last lap, 9 miles an hour off of his quick, from 211 down to 202. Here comes
Dario is coming in. He has had enough of the bad handling. Meanwhile, a battle for the lead on the racetrack is Scott Dixon. On lap number 22, he takes the lead from Tagliani, and that's Graham Rahal right behind Tags.
Talk about the difference. You have Scott Dixon, teammates with Dario Franchitti. One's taking the lead while the other is going on the pit road with a car he can't drive. That is phenomenal.
Dario's in the pit. They're putting fuel, 4 tires, of course, and taking loads of front wing out. I've never seen a guy turn his hand so fast. So probably 4 turns of front wing out of this thing. Let's see if it's balanced now.
Wow. That was a lot. Remember, we did a feature on that at Indianapolis, that the threads are much more coarse on these front wing adjustments. So that is a huge change.
This is the battle for second place. Alex Tagliani in the 98 and Graham Rahal right behind him.
Now, Dario has some tools on board to help him deal with this. They've got a weight jacker, which can jack quite a bit of weight across the right, rear, left, front, diagonal, and 2 sway bars. So either they were not expecting it to go loose and that their adjustment set up to go the other way, or he's out of adjustment already. Wow, look at that wiggle with Graham Rahal on the outside of Tag.
Alex Tagliani's last lap, he dropped under 200 miles an hour. That shows you just what we're talking about, how much the car can go off.
Graham Rahal takes second.
For comparison, Dixon has fled the scene, running last lap 205 miles an hour. So the car that seems to be able to, which is about well, it's 6 miles an hour faster than second, but a full 3, 4, 5 quicker than the rest of the field.
And now here comes Will Power up to challenge Alex Tagliani.
Hey, Tommy, you were talking about controls earlier. I just walked up to Brian Herta, Tagliani's team owner, said, is he on the controls? He said, oh, yeah. He's got a lot of push. These guys are working hard already.
Power still trying to make the move on Tagliani as they come off the fourth quarter. Still not able to do so. We'll watch him down into turn 1. Meanwhile, watching the two up ahead of him is Marco Andretti running 5th.
And of course, Will Power on that higher groove. His car doesn't have the same amount of wiggle. Certainly, that was a pretty big contrast between he and Tagliani. And now, just as you say, Marco Andretti takes advantage, follows Power through.
Tagliani drops to 5th position from the lead. He led the first 20 laps of this race, but now has dropped to 5th. Justin Wilson has moved up to 12th position, so he too has made some good moves here in the early going.
You saw the Sonny's barbecue car at the very early part of the race. He was the one that was way up on the top. He went 3-4 wide and picked up some positions by going really high on the racetrack.
Ryan Hunter-Reay, meanwhile, continues to move forward.
Next car is closing. 3 down.
He's running 8th currently.
Been notified that Briscoe is closing from behind in the 6th car.
Closing in. Back in tow.
And it's looking like that balance for Ryan Hunter-Reay is going away, because you can definitely get the visual picture there that Briscoe's car is maintaining a much higher rate right now. Ryan Hunter-Reay fighting it.
And all the people I talked to, they knew that the tires weren't going to be pristine for a full stint. The question is, depending on the setup, which end of the car you were leaning on harder.
Dario Franchitti had to pit on lap 20 and has dropped a lap down. Ryan Hunter-Reay and Ryan Briscoe continue to battle for position, and right behind them is Simon Pagenaud, the 3rd car back there. Pagenaud currently in 10th position. Scott Dixon leading by about 3 seconds. Make that 7/10 of a second over Graham Rahal. First caution of the evening, Charlie Kimball into the wall. He's fine. Got out of the car very quickly after it came to a rest near pit entrance. The pits are currently closed. Let's take a look at what happened to Charlie.
First thing he said was, I got in his wash and it stepped out on me, was what he said on the radio. Thankfully, a glancing blow for him. As you said, he is okay. But again, when you're behind cars and you're also fighting one that you don't have a lot of grip, that aerodynamic wash can be a big deal.
A little bit loose already entering the corner. Right over the bump. Hands off the wheel.
Yeah, Tommy, I was talking to his strategist, and what happened was he was working Viso on the low side, kept working Viso. He moved up high, and he got clean air on that front wing, plus that bump, and that was enough to just turn him right around.
And Dario was right behind him.
And you mentioned Dario. Of course, Dario Franchitti has already made a pit stop. And if you have a caution after you make a pit stop, this is exactly what Dario Franchitti did not want, because you lose a lap when you pit. Now he most likely will not pit when everyone else does, and he's going to have to try and stay in front to get his lap back, and that will be tough.
On warm tires.
Yes.
Charlie Kimball had finished 8th the last 3 races, including Indianapolis, where he led 3 laps, and he was running 20th when he crashed. And Charlie Kimball is out of the race, as is Simona De Silvestro, Rubens Barrichello, and 2 cars not on the lead lap, Dario and Catherine Lay. Scott Dixon, meanwhile, has now led in 6 of the 7 races this season. He has led all but Long Beach, and the biggest movers so far have been Takuma Sato and J.R. Hildebrand, who have both gained 7 positions from the start of the race, and Ryan Hunter-Reay has moved up 5 positions to 8th. And there you hear it, the pits are now open. Scott Dixon led on 4 of the 7 ovals last year and 53 laps this year in the Indianapolis 500.
Dario most likely is going to stay out. So we should be open all the way in. That was Charlie, as you saw. So we should be open going out. We'll just keep our eye on the traffic around you here.
Mike Hull talking to Scott Dixon.
Central.
Confirming what we assumed is that Dario is going to need to stay out. Catherine Legge, blue and white car, is also going to stay out.
And here they come.
Man, this will be good. A lot of changes, and you have to be fast.
Let's hear Charlie's pit, so nice and easy right behind Dixie. There you go. Right here.
Scott Dixon, the first to stop up top of your screen. And Ray Hall. And now here comes Will Power to a stop. Smooth stop, no adjustments, it looked like, for Dixon or Graham Ray Hall.
Wow, that was close between Dixon and Ray Hall.
There was actually a quick wing adjustment on Dixon, but none on Ray Hall.
Make sure 8 when you can.
Wow, what a battle between teammates Hinchcliffe and Andretti on the line. Looks like Hinchcliffe got him. That was a definite close one.
Briscoe gains 3 positions, and Ed Carpenter moves up 5 positions as a result of the pit stop. And Tony Kanaan.
Something's not right.
Yep. Trouble on the right rear. And Kanaan still is not moving. Looks like they're going to change the front wings on the car. We'll find out what happened when we return to Texas Motor Speedway and the Firestone 550. Back to Texas Motor Speedway. That's Tony Kanaan pulling out of the pit area. They have the front nose replaced on that car. All kinds of interesting things on pit lane during this series of pit stops.
Bob, here's the thing that happened. The air jack failed on the 11 car on Tony Kanaan. You can see the guy in the rear just working hard to get that thing up. They worked so hard that they damaged the front wing in the process with the manual jack. So one thing led to another. You can see the guy pointing for a new front wing. Disaster on pit row for TK.
Wow. And Franchitti also has problems.
They came in, and it looks like they disconnected the rear sway bar.
They definitely went to the rear bar and were making a change. And to make that kind of change, even under caution, just shows the level of how hard to get these cars bound. That's a huge change.
Simon Pagenaud also with a problem, as he didn't make a clean entry and also hung up Justin Wilson right ahead of him. And Will Power made 2 pit stops because of problems on the right rear as we go back to racing. And look at the 3 wide for a moment activity there as Ryan Hunter-Reay tried to move up. And look at Ed Carpenter past Ryan Hunter-Reay.
Ed Carpenter on the bottom, green and white, had that great momentum. And as you said, Sato right in the mix, blue and white just ahead of him.
Sato running 7th.
Much like in Indy, we saw lots of actions on the restart. Lots of action on the restart. Bo Barfield was going to be a little more vigilant to look for guys that were hanging back and getting big runs. Hunter-Reay had a good start. He might have got into the rev limiter or something, and then he got split by Sato and Carpenter.
Simon Pagenaud is going to get a drive-through penalty.
That, of course, would be for hitting his own wheel and punting it into the pit box of Justin Wilson.
There is Will Power, who is clear back to 20th position after the 2 pit stops.
And he was 3rd going into that pit stop and even came out in 3rd, but they did not, as you mentioned, get the right rear attached securely. So they had to come back in, make that 2nd stop. So Power, who's been strong so far, has to be able to work his way through the field again.
Good battle for 10th, Hildebrand and Ryan Hunter-Reay, and Hildebrand takes the spot. On board with him, looking back now on Hunter-Reay and Castro Neves.
Hildebrand from the back of the field.
Hey, Tommy, update on Dario, man. He's got big-time handling problems. The thing's so loose, they disconnected the rear bar on pit lane. That's what took so long.
And guess what? His teammate, Scott Dixon, a little turn of front wing. The tires were perfect. The car's perfect. And Ricky Davis, the chief mechanic, said, I can't think of anybody I'd rather see leading this race when you got to drive the car than Scott Dixon. Pagano's back on the track, fellas.
And when you see Pagano, consider that he got that drive-through because he hit his own tire, but he also hit a tire at Long Beach, got away with it because they didn't get a call from pit road. Now this time, second time this year, but he's got to pay a very hefty penalty for doing so.
Ed Carpenter takes 7th place away from Alex Tagliani. Meanwhile, there is Scott Dixon once again. Went around his teammate Franchitti, who is struggling big time out there. Here comes Ray Hall, 2nd place to the inside of Franchitti.
Guys, he is really struggling here. Man, it's going to be a long day for him. Removing the rear bar, guys, really softens up the back of the car. What you're trying to do is pick up rear grip. If he's loose, he's looking for the rear tires to move a lot more and soak up the grip of the track. But he does not look happy out there. This is going to be, like I said, long night.
E.J. Viso and Justin Wilson battle for position.
With Tony, let's stay with Tony.
Justin Wilson, of course, was delayed in that pit stop because Pagano had punted his own tire in. So now Justin Wilson's got a lot extra work to do, and here comes power.
I think you saw a little bit of what caught out Charlie Kimball. You saw Justin Wilson right up the back of Viso. Had to get out of it. That's one thing where I think the experience level, guys that remember the days, the big speeds at Michigan and California, and having to deal with the jet wash with the car more on the verge of sliding than in the pack racing of the past.
And let's talk to Charlie Kimball, who crashed out.
Charlie, we saw the replay. It looked like the thing just snapped on you.
Yeah, I went into turn 3 and 4 on the high side of the 5 car, and like every lap before that, he was completely unpredictable, moved up right in front of me, and when he did, the thing snapped on me. Took all the air off, and we don't, running around here, we don't have a huge amount of downforce. They're really difficult to drive. It doesn't help when he's completely unpredictable like that. I feel bad for the 83 Novolog Flexman guys, because I think the first 2 guys out there, it's an indication of how good the car was in clean air.
Was it fun to drive before that? Last year you drove here when it was wide open.
Yeah, I really enjoy the fact that you got to pedal it around here. You got to go looking for grip, but it's disappointing when some of the drivers don't have the respect for it, what needs to happen.
Well, we're glad you're okay. Bobby?
Yeah, Charlie finished 8th at Brazil, 8th at Indianapolis, 8th at Belle Isle. He'll finish in 23rd position here today. Dario Franchitti is turning laps at 192 miles an hour compared with the leader, Scott Dixon, at 211.
Yeah, Bob, he's in big trouble. He just came on the radio now screaming about push, meaning understeer. So they fixed the problem with being loose, but a rear bar change like that, removing the rear bar, is so big that it's shifted the balance completely in the other direction.
Now, what exactly does that do, Jan?
Well, what it does is it's like a sway bar that you'd have in your road car, and when you disconnect it, it changes the way the car loads up in the corner. So right here where you see Ryan Briscoe followed by Sato, when they're loading into the corner, if you don't have a bar, it changes the whole way the car takes a set. If you actually disconnect something you normally have connected, it just completely changes that balance. I mean, they had to be desperate to go that far.
They were out of adjustments because the series they're limited. The most downforce you can run is -5 degrees on the rear wing. They're capped there, so they can't fix it, and they're already running that little wicker, so they were out of adjustments. They'd already taken huge turns of front wing out, and that was sort of their last ditch. Be interesting to see what they do now.
In terms of progress so far, J.R. Hildebrand leads the pack with 15 positions gained since the start of the race. Hildebrand is currently running in 8th position, but he has moved up and passed more cars than any other driver. Takuma Sato has gained 14 spots, Ed Carpenter 12. And Joseph Newgarden is up to 19th. He has passed 6 cars since he started way back in last position.
And all this, we're not even a quarter of the way through this 550K race.
Well, we haven't seen pack racing, but we've seen some good side-by-side racing at times and a lot of passing.
We've also seen some engineer racing. I mean, it really does not come down to who is going to have the ultimate mechanical setup, since you can't put more downforce in it. Who is the combination between driver and engineer that has what the driver wants, and then you need a driver to hang on to it. And amazingly, in the very same team, we've seen the best and the worst. We see Scott Dixon seeming like he's got a handle completely on it, and his teammate, where they share all the data, is completely lost.
One of the things I'm looking at, guys, is Graham Rahall's tire wear down here. That first set of tires looks great. I mean, they're getting great tire wear. He's got a good balance. One thing I learned at Indy, this car is knife edge, man. You can be over or under. It's really hard to get right in that sweet spot.
Right before that caution, Graham Rahal was actually dialing back in Scott Dixon, and you notice he made no changes to his car, no visible change. They could have changed tire pressure or something like that, but obviously pretty happy with his car.
Power takes 15th from E.J. Viso. Will Power, the winner of the second race last year here at Texas. We had the twin races last year with Dario winning one and Will winning the second. For Scott Dixon, his advantage over Graham Rahal is just a little more than 1 second. Sunday, June 17th, Major League Soccer continues on the NBC Sports Network. The Chicago Fire host the New York Red Bulls. All rise for Major League Soccer Sunday, June 17th, 5 Eastern on the NBC Sports Network. Ryan Hunter-Ray has a problem. He is dropping like a rock. Oh, and a car into
Sato.
Takuma Sato.
Running in 6th.
Wow. Second caution of the evening. Charlie Kimball crashed earlier. He's okay. Takuma Sato makes contact with the wall on lap number 65. Takuma Sato finished 20th at Belle Isle last week as Bobby Rahal, his car owner, takes a look. But as Robin Miller mentioned in the pit walk, he made some fans at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the move he made, but he was not successful. Let's see if we can follow.
It's way late. That's in the middle of the straightaway.
Ooh, and Hildebrand just escaped.
Drivable, Taku.
No, that is unusual. That's weird looking.
That was, as you said, way past the exit of 2.
He's going to come back and look at the back of the car, which tells me that something broke.
The only way he's saving that Tommy that far down is if he got into some kind of wicked tank slapper and he was just catching it. But, man, it looks weird. That's a long ways down the straight, like you said.
That's Roger Yasukawa, by the way, who's spotting for Takuma Sato, former IndyCar racer.
You saw Sebastian Bourdais up there as well, not driving. Would obviously be spotting for Catherine Legge.
Yeah, Bourdais is doing the road and street courses, and Catherine Legge is doing the ovals as Ryan Hunter-Ray comes in.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
His report on the radio, of course, was that he felt he was having some problems, and they go towards the lid.
We've got a problem. I think we've lost power. It wouldn't accelerate at all here. It feels like something's really bound up in the back. 10-4. You don't smell anything burning, do you? I thought I did, but then Sato crashed. But I thought it was like starting to vibrate a little bit at the rear. I'm not sure.
Well, that was a radio transmission prior to the entry to the pit area, and now here is Scott Dixon, the leader, on pit lane, getting service.
No changes for Scott Dixon. Graham Rahal's out, and no change for him either. They're looking good.
And Hildebrand, a slight adjustment as he comes out.
Took front wing. Long stop for Briscoe.
Yeah. Viso comes out just ahead of Will Power, with whom he was battling before we had the caution.
Now, something that Ryan Hunter-Ray said, which might tie into the Sato story, he said it felt bound up at the rear. So if it's quite possible that it's not losing power, that they have some sort of an issue, possibly a hub or something like that, that's dragging, which, we need to find out what happened to Sato's car if there was some sort of a failure.
Now remember, Indy 500, it was, if I recall, it was a right rear wheel bearing that knocked Ryan Hunter-Reay out. So you wonder if that somehow could be related, because this is the next oval in the schedule.
J.R. Hildebrand, up to 4th, leaving the pits.
There is Ryan Briscoe, who dropped back to 12th. Watching Ryan Briscoe. Right rear again is the last to go on, but the fuel is taking a long time, much longer than normal. And as a result, Briscoe drops back to 12th position. Dario is back in as they continue to work on the handling of that car. There is Joseph Newgarden as he gets service and rolls back into competition. 68 laps of 228 have been completed here at Texas Motor Speedway. Scott Dixon leads Graham Rahal. James Hinchcliffe has moved up to 3rd, and J.R. Hildebrand for Panther Racing. And the National Guard car is up to 4th position.
That is a heck of, and with some huge, scary moments during the first run, chasing the back of that car big time, and now all the way up to 4th. Incredible run.
And you know why he was so scary, TK? He had the bars going the wrong way. Yep. Hunter-Reay's out of the car. The Panther guys say that basically JR just moved the bars the wrong way. So
made it looser.
Made it looser. And then he finally realized what he'd done, and he changed it again. So I'd say once he got the bars in the right place, he was pretty quick.
Yeah, he's looking good.
Some guys have the bars labeled really technically, and some people have it real simple. Make push with arrows.
Race fans.
Normally, Tommy,
go ahead.
Normally, Tommy, those things are labeled like you push forward, generally push for push. So both rear and front bar, you push for push.
Michael Andretti, the car owner. You can download the IndyCar mobile by calling ** Indy. For tablets, visit indy.bzw.com or Google Play, only from Verizon. Well, sun begins to set here in Texas as we get set to go back to competition.
Make push was Gordon Johncock. He couldn't keep it straight with the push and loose and so forth, so they just said make push.
Anytime you can mention the name Gordon Johncock in a show, Tommy, you've been successful. I mentioned Lloyd Ruby early in the show. Now we got Gordon Johncock. We're doing well. I'm sure Robin can throw in a few more names as the evening goes along. But here, the crowd rises, and they cheer as the green flag comes out, and we are back to racing. Scott Dixon shows the way.
Ed Carpenter's going low, green and white on the bottom. He started 19th. He's powering up towards the front.
Marco, in your mirrors.
Here's some rev limiters.
Ed Carpenter had such a great run there, and then it seems like now he's backing up to this group. Tony Kanaan going on the high side right in the middle of the mix.
After his problem on pit lane, he has moved up to 11th spot, battling with Biso for 11th.
Those shots underscore that even though they don't have pack racing, it is far from tame. Yeah. I mean, you get a really good idea of the speed and how quick stuff's happening.
You heard him grabbing gears and rev limiters, shifting, lifting, a lot going on.
Ryan Briscoe is at the top of the racetrack, trying to move up alongside E.J. Viso, and let's talk to Ryan Hunter-Reay.
Ryan, what ultimately put you out? What was the issue with the power?
An ejector problem. I don't know. It just lost power and
But slowly but surely we're losing power. It's unfortunate, really unfortunate. We had a really good start to the season going, really good in points, and then now with 3 straight mechanical issues, it's so unfortunate. These guys work so hard, and I think we had a good race car going tonight. I think it might be time for me to cut off the facial hair. I don't know what to do.
We wondered if people could go a full stint on the tires. We haven't seen that yet, about halfway. How are the tires holding up?
On new tires there, I was able to make up a lot of positions, around the outside. On older tires, we didn't have the best of balance, and we were tuning on it, though. I think we would have been all right, but we just kept losing power. So I really don't know. I'm probably not the best guy to ask, but certainly a lot of work out there.
All right, we'll see you in Milwaukee. Better luck there.
Ryan Hunter-Reay has 4 top 10 finishes in the 6 races, but he will not get one tonight. We saw Justin Wilson pick up a position. He is now up to 6th. Elio Castroneves also moving up. Marco, meanwhile, loses a couple of spots. He's back to 8th.
Now here comes TK. Look at how darty Marco is. Big lift. Saw the flame out of the exhaust from Tony. And now it looks like here comes Servia and Viso. Yep.
Oriol Servia up on the high side of EJ Viso there for a moment in the black and green car this weekend for Servia. Sponsored by Valspar. Meanwhile, it's now Tagliani who is going to the inside of Servia. So positions being changed here in the pack, but not up front. Dixon leads Rahal, Hinchcliffe, and Hildebrand. Firestone 550 at Texas Motor Speedway, live here on the NBC Sports Network. Will Powers gained 3 positions in the last few laps. He is currently up to 10th position. Let's put our pit guys to work here for the next few minutes as Firestone takes us through the field. Here's Townsend Bell.
Well, Bob, let's start off with leader Scott Dixon. He is right where he wants to be. His tires look great. His balance is good. He's 2nd in the championship. 1 Detroit. He's leading now. And then we move on back to Graham Rahal, his teammate. Equally as happy with his balance, but here's a guy that's 15th in points. He needs a result today. Kevin?
James Hinchcliffe has worked his way up to 3rd, started 6th. He was one of those uncertain coming in to this race here, but he has been moving along quite nicely. He has, though, asked to add some front wing at the next stop and some weight jacker to calm the front on entry, Robin.
Jared Hildebrand starts 23rd. Kevin, he charges to 4th once he gets his bars right. Ed Carpenter's 5th. He's also making a big charge. He got 14 cars back. And the good news is, he just tweeted, he had his PR person just tweet, "This thing's boring. I apologize to the fans. Doesn't look boring from here." Then we got Justin Wilson in 6th place. He had a good run at Indy. He's starting to get the hang of all these ovals right now. Kevin?
Elio Castroneves is rolling. He just picked up another spot. He started back mid-pack in this race, 15th, and he's worked his way up to 6th. Townsend?
Tony Kanaan, things started off a little rough for his KB teammates, but he's been looking for a great run tonight. He's currently 9th in points. He's charging.
Will Powers, another mover. Remember, he was running 3rd before they had to take 2 pit stops because of a right rear being loose. He fell all the way back to 19th at the restart, dropped to 20th, but he's on the charge. Power is strong right now, Townsend.
EJ Viso, he had a complaint there from Charlie Kimball, but I can't blame Viso for that. He's having a good, solid run. He has not had any big incidents on track this year. I think Jimmy Vasser's had a lot to do with that.
Marco Andretti is 11th. He's slipping a little bit in this stint. He started 8th, got up as high as 4th. He was very unhappy in the practice session yesterday. Said he was going to crash, can't drive the car. They made a shock change. Better today, and he said early on he's ready to fight. Got to get back up to the front again, Townsend.
Orioles in the pits.
Oriol Servia makes a pit stop, and this is not of the scheduled variety. And Mike Conway also comes in. Here at lap number 91, we have 2 contenders in the pit area. Mike Conway Had the engine change that cost him 10 grid positions, but was second quickest in the final practice last night and has been looking good here today, but he is now dropping back because of the pit stop. There is Ed Carpenter in 6th, and Oriol Servia is getting out.
He is getting out. I also noticed you may have wondered what was up with Conway just taking fuel. That happens if you have a pit stop. You don't get all the fuel. And when I was watching closely at that Briscoe pit stop that we weren't sure why it was so long, you could actually see the valve on the fueler did not open for a long time. I'll bet something similar to that happened to Conway. They found out they didn't get all the fuel and they needed to get it. You wonder whether Briscoe got everything in that long stop that he had.
Wow, big on board with Kanaan. Big lift in the middle of the corner.
A couple of lifts, it sounded to me like.
Still on his corner. Outside. Keep digging.
Power takes 8.
Now, when Servia came in, I heard him say we're done, and something about fuel pressure.
That's a lot of lifting. But that is exactly what the drivers that you heard earlier in the pre-race show, they sat down in Detroit with the technical director and said, we want to be lifting in the corners. We want to bring that in. And they've got it.
And look at these Penske cars up high. You saw Castroneves just sail by Hildebrand.
And as a result, Castroneves is in 4th place.
Whoa, it skates up there, though. When you get up high, it does move around.
I did notice with Graham Rahal, he was, entering into the corner low. It's the transition into the corner and off the corner, the abrupt change from bank to unbank that seems to be giving him some trouble. And that was something, that's one of the problems when you run the high groove. You're going to get into that with a little bit more steering angle in the car.
3-car battle here. That's Justin Wilson passing J.R. Hildebrand.
All right, let's get back in it.
Carpenter 5th, Wilson 6th, Hildebrand now 7th. And Robin is with Oriol Servia.
Oriol, what can you tell us what happened?
Well, we started to have a fuel pressure alarm on the wheel, and every lap was just all of a sudden getting worse, the engine. I was running full throttle, and it just couldn't carry any speed. We think we have an injector problem or something, which is rare, but it happened today.
Was it fun? Was it fun to race in this condition? Did you have a good time when you were out there?
I was happy with the car. I mean, we worked very hard yesterday in a good race car, and we were moving forward. And, just after the first stop is when it started to have issues, and already in the restart I couldn't accelerate well. So
I guess what I meant to say was the changes are good. Happy with the changes that you guys made to the cars as far as race-wise?
Yeah, I think at the beginning it was very tough. We had the NASCAR track rubber from yesterday, and the car was sliding a lot, but it was just getting better and better.
I like it when he says NASCAR because he used all those R's, Bobby. Servia is the king of R's.
Well, he's also been the king of passing cars this season. If you were watching our pre-race show, we pointed out that he has gained 73 positions total this year. Now, James Hinchcliffe is up to 2nd position, getting around Graham Rahal, and there is Power and Viso for 9th. Dixon, by the way, has moved up to have a 7-second advantage on Hinchcliffe. Dixon over Hinchcliffe. And there is Marco Andretti passing Viso for 10th.
Not. They'll stay side by side. We'll find out which is better in this case, high or low. You're going to keep that more momentum on the high as long as it doesn't drift.
Viso holds him off.
Yep, for the moment.
And he's really closing on Power now. Power must have had to get out of the throttle.
Viso going for 9th. Can't make the pass, though, now. Meanwhile, up ahead of them is Hildebrand and Kanaan.
Yeah, they're catching these two.
And Kanaan goes to 7th.
Big lift from Hildebrand.
3rd place battle is between Wilson in the Sonny's barbecue car and Graham Rahal.
Oh, and he's got to run. Here he comes.
A good run for Justin Wilson, driving for Dale Coyne.
Nice.
He's got third.
And a guy that took a while to take to the ovals, and showed some good speed at Indianapolis, and not real afraid here. He came in the first practice session. We saw all the guys getting this sideways. He said, "I'm coming in for
yourself all the way up to P3 now. That's P2 in front of you, Hinch. Plus 12.
Just shows you when the handle goes away how quickly the cars head in the other direction."
And now Ed Carpenter and Graham Rahal are fourth and fifth. We're nearing the halfway point of the Firestone 550. 105 of 228 laps are completed.
Back at Texas Motor Speedway, where Scott Dixon is the leader just moments ago. James Hinchcliffe running in second, and here comes Justin Wilson to the inside, grabbing the position. Just a couple of minutes before that, we heard reports that Hinchcliffe might be developing a vibration, so he was running the same speed and catching Dixon. Now he's lost a position.
Justin Wilson lost 4 positions on that pit stop on lap 37. He was 12th when they entered pit road and 16th on the restart after dodging Pagano's tire, but he has moved up to second. Let's talk to Sato.
Takuma, can you tell us what happened?
I don't know, but suddenly lost the back end at exit to turn 2. Was always nervous. I mean, today we never, gone flat at all. Had to lift all the time, which was great. And I moved up quite a lot of pace, but unfortunately the car went really nervous on the turn 2 and then lost it.
Okay, Kevin. Marco's in the pits, and Mr. Sato said he had to lift.
Kyle Moyer's been talking to Marco a lot about shifting. That's been the focus of this last bit. And there's a fire as he exits. Well, fuel obviously didn't get extinguished all the way. It puts itself out as he goes back on the track. But that's scary when you see that flame. And here comes Castroneves down to make his stop. He has been a hard charger here at this point. Castroneves, 60 miles an hour down the pit lane. He's got a clean in, and he'll have a clean exit as well. Elio will take 4 Firestone Firehawks, 18.5 gallons of Sunoco E85 ethanol. And this is a nice clean stop for Castroneves. We'll see where he cycles back in.
And you can clearly see for Castroneves, when you have that water bottle, the idea is that after your pit stop, you will spray and dilute any of the fuel that's left. Obviously, for Marco Andretti, there was either an additional bit of fuel spilled or didn't get the water done, because that was a big fire.
We're halfway, and James Hinchcliffe is on pit lane.
Your brakes are where they belong.
Marco in again.
And James Hinchcliffe pitting right in front of him, and Marco is taking the steering wheel off. So Andretti looks like he's going to be done. He's climbing out at this point. Meanwhile, right in front of him, they needed a stop to address issues for James Hinchcliffe. He had lost a couple of spots. He's back out.
But not so for Marco Andretti, and here comes Will Power.
We should watch the right rear, because in previous stops they've had some trouble with the right rear, and I almost wonder if it's the lug nut and the hub itself. So keep an eye and see if they've got that resolved.
So far, so good.
Seems to get all the way tightened this time. Well, you need the quick stops near the end, and he gets it.
Nice stop. And the leader is on pit road, or about to be. Scott Dixon has led 96 laps. And J.R. Hildebrand pits at the same time. Hildebrand will be the first to come to the attention of his crew.
Yeah, guys, I'm here with Scott Dixon. No changes to his car yet. Let's see what they do. Little bit of front wing, half a turn out of the front wing, and he is off. He wants to know where Justin Wilson came from.
And did Wilson go too far? Because Wilson stayed out, and he looked to me like he was slowing.
Well, he certainly was slow in comparison to Castroneves, who sailed by. But now it looks
probably
like
the difference between old and new tires.
Yeah. Wow, got a block track.
Outside. outside.
And Graham Rahal pits on the right.
Yeah, guys, smooth stop so far. Let's see if front wing's everything on this. A little slow on the left front. Had a problem getting that off. No changes in the front wing. He's away.
Usually a watch here is whoever can go the longest gets a big edge because you lose a lap when you stop. Obviously, if it stays green, that all comes out in the wash. But Justin Wilson is going to be on a lap of his own if he can stay out. Now, because the tires are such a big issue, we're finding guys are maybe going to pit more when the tires are worn out. But this could, if we get a yellow right now, really good for Justin Wilson.
Well, Justin Wilson's last lap, of course, Ed Carpenter now pitting. They just went 53 laps, but for Justin Wilson, he dropped to 193 miles an hour, just like you're talking about. Yes, he stayed out, but he's slowing way down at the same time that Scott Dixon's flying.
Hard to tell if that was the traffic with Jakes and so forth. But yeah, losing some time relative to guys flying on new tires.
This is Tony Kanaan, who goes back into the race. And now Justin Wilson continues without stopping as we see Briscoe and Dixon.
Guys, the whole key here is going to be if this is a green flag stop, we got to watch what Justin does on that outlap through the apron. That's where all the time is. See where he matches up with Dixon.
Olsen or Alex Tagliani here.
Right down here with Tagliani. Fuel goes in. No issue with the tires. Let's watch the front wing. I think they add a little bit of front wing, it looked like. I'm from behind. That means he's got a little bit of understeer. They're adding front wing.
Green flag pit stops occurring here as we're just a little past the halfway mark. Simon Pagenaud is on pit road. He was up to second when he hit pit lane.
One of only 2 cars on the lead lap.
Service completed. Pagenaud back in the race.
Hit this lap, hit this lap, hit this lap.
There you go. All right, there's the answer. That's the radio to Justin Wilson. Looks like he will go 57 laps. Now, what that can do, that gives him a bit more fuel to use in his last couple of stints.
And his teammate James Jakes is running in second position right now.
He's hitting right behind him, it looks like.
Will also be in need of a pit stop.
And Dixon just unlapped himself right there. To give you a comparison, Wilson last lap was 200. Dixon's was 210.
I think that Wilson was staying out, hoping there'd be a caution.
Yep.
Had there been a caution, like you said, he would have been on the lap on his own.
All right, boys, he's in. He's taking 4 tires. No adjustments yet. The old Oval Meister. All right, Scott Dixon just rolls by. Justin, good stuff with the Elkhorn boys.
And here comes Dixon down through the front stretch into turn number 1.
So it actually cost him quite a bit of time. It was a gamble to try to trap everybody a lap down, but he lost relative track position. The benefits could come, like you said, if the track continues to get better as the air cools off, the NASCAR truck rubber is all gone. If speed becomes an issue, he can pour more fuel to it towards the end.
So right now it's Dixon, Hinchcliffe by 6 seconds. Dixon leading by 6 seconds over Hinchcliffe. Carpenter is third. Power just took fourth from Justin Wilson, who is in 5th position.
We mentioned Marco Andretti came down when he left after his pit stop. There was a fire in the car that extinguished itself by the time he got to the end of pit road. He came back around, thought he was still on fire. He pitted, unbuckled, climbed out of the car the whole time. The team was saying, no, you're okay. But it took 6 laps to strap him back in, so that's why there's so many laps down. Michael Andretti's been in there asking those same questions.
And among those who went a lap down on those pit stops, Graham Rahal, Alex Tagliani, and J.R. Hildebrand in 10th, 11th, and 12th. We'll be right back. Well, you saw a non-stop E.J. Viso's car came to a halt here on the front stretch. E.J. out of the car, jumping the wall, but his night is over after a decent performance for KV Racing Technology gang. Scott Dixon, meanwhile, is the leader of the race. Now, right behind him is Graham Rahal, but Rahal is a lap down in 9th spot.
these cars having just stopped. I wouldn't expect many of the front runners.
On this lap, pit.
Oh, wow. I was going to say I wouldn't expect many to pit. What this is about is because you lose a lap pitting under green, nobody can take that chance of they're trying to extend their pit window as far as they can because you can't afford to get trapped a lap down.
But now will Ray Hall, hoping to make up a lap, not pit?
I suspect he will stay.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm actually quite surprised that Dixon's pitting here. Just like you.
Stop down here.
I wouldn't have stopped.
Ray Hall stays out. And Kevin.
A lot of teams were talking about just follow Scott Dixon. There you see James Hinchcliffe in the middle. He was one of those. They told him do exactly what Dixon does. Same thing for Will Power is one of those that's going to come in. Ed Carpenter on the bottom of the screen. We've got some issues, and we've got Helio Castroneves coming together with Joseph Newgarden. So Newgarden and Castroneves together. Meanwhile, Will Power gets out. Castroneves wanted to come in to deal with a push in the car. And then now as he's exiting, Tony Kanaan maybe got the back end of Castroneves. Certainly it was very close. So a very costly stop for Castroneves, who was in the possibilities to get to the front in this race.
Yeah, he was sixth.
He's wanting to go. He doesn't want to get trapped a lap down.
No contact, guys, with Kanaan. I was watching from behind. Kanaan was just waiting to go. They were trying to push his car back. Let's see what happened.
On the way. Joseph is on the way.
Where his pit was.
Exactly.
Well, meanwhile, Helio goes back out onto the track.
We've seen two rookies. Newgarden's only has one oval start under his belt, as does Pagenaud, and both of them having issues, kind of zoning in on their pit.
Ray Hall, Tagliani, Hildebrand, and Castroneves got their lap back, so now 11 cars on the lead lap. There's Helio.
Get to the back.
All right, let's get down to Robin, who's with Derek Walker.
Derek, you guys didn't pit. Dixon did. What's the strategy?
Well, we think it's a little too early. We want to ride it out a little bit longer. Obviously, they're rolling the dice. It's a pretty good call, but, we'll see who works out best in the end.
Ed's done a hell of a job charging from the back to the front. What's he saying about the car?
Well, actually, the car's not that good, so Ed is doing a really good job. We've been struggling with the balance, and he's been just hanging on and running like a son of a gun, so doing great. Pit stops have been great.
Thanks, Derek. Kevin?
Helio Castroneves, as you can see, just came back in. What happened? Joseph Newgarden just missed his box. He went too far, and there was nowhere for Helio to pit, so Helio had to wait basically for traffic to clear. Dario Franchitti also rolling down the pit lane, back out. J.R. Hildebrand also rolling down pit lane, getting back out.
Marco Andretti also. But the leader of the race now is James Hinchcliffe with Ed Carpenter. That is of course, Derek Walker, who Derek is working for. He's second. Justin Wilson is third. Scott Dixon is fourth. Then Power, Briscoe, Kanaan, Ray Hall, Tagliani, and Castroneves are the top 10. And there are 11 cars on the lead lap, with J.R. Hildebrand, the last car on the lead lap.
And it looks like by Dixon pitting, all the cars that were lapped between Dixon and Hinchcliffe, it looks like 4 cars were able to get back on the lead lap. Big gift for Ray Hall, Tagliani, and Hildebrand.
Having grown up in the Indianapolis area when I was growing up, on Channel 8 television, Wish TV, there was a great sports director named Jim Wilson, and he passed away this past week, and his son, Jimmy, has been a regular on our crew for the past several years, and we just want to send our condolences and best wishes to Jimmy Wilson and all of the Wilson family. All right, 136 laps are completed here.
Now, the dice roll that Walker was talking about.
You're going to make me say something, but it's single file. My paycheck has me right.
does not change the number of stops. No one's able to skip a stop. So basically, if it goes green from the end, the edge probably goes to the guys that did not stop. If there's a yellow in between where they have to stop and when Dixon has to stop with that extra fuel, it'll really tip Dixon's way. So it's kind of a track position play. Be interesting to see how this all... There's only, look, 4 cars in front of Dixon. So it's like Walker said, it's a pretty good gamble. Whether or not it's a good call depends on how many people adopt that strategy. Quite a few people stop. So looking pretty good for Dixon.
Tim Cindric just told Will Power a moment ago, you've got to take care of the tires. We need to go the full stint here. We only have 1 set of stickers left.
Oh, boy, the field bunches up. Hinchcliffe brings him down relatively slowly, bunching up everybody behind him. He has the lead, but look on the outside. That's Pagano trying to get a lap back. 3 wide racing. On board with Pagano.
Look at Scott Dixon all the way down low, almost making it 3 wide. That car, now we know why he stopped. He had a fast car already. Now he's got fresh tires, and man, he's on the move.
Yeah, he's up to 2nd already.
Wow. And it's just like you're saying, Tommy, he really didn't lose that many positions because of because so many other people through that sequence decided to pit, and that goes to show these guys know how to make the calls, and before you know it, he's to be right up front.
Again, Pagano, the blue and white car, is not on the lead lap. He is a lap down in 12th spot.
I thought I just caught Briscoe maybe getting a little loose into 3 as the camera panned away.
The 67 car of Joseph Newgarden will get a drive-through penalty for missing his pit box. He is doing it right now. Newgarden serving the penalty.
Saw Pagano wiggle off of 4 and going straight to the sway bars.
Newgarden rejoins the race. This is the 4th race that Hinchcliffe has led this year, only the 5th in his career, and he now no longer is the leader as Scott Dixon blasts through on the bottom of the racetrack and takes over 1st place. And here comes Power.
Guys, don't forget, Scott Dixon was one of the guys that said this is in the driver's hands now. It's about racecraft. It's about talent. You're just seeing a guy that's happy with his car, confident in his abilities, showing everybody how to do it.
Look at Briscoe, the 2010 winner, coming like a freight train. Look at him.
Power and Briscoe, teammates battling for position, and they're both bearing down on Hinchcliffe. There are your top 4. Let's see how much they're separated by. Top 4 separated by 0.6 of a second.
Wow, look at that skate. Briscoe on the high side. He's got position now, though.
Any edge that...
Whoa, man.
Hello.
Hinchcliffe maintains 2nd.
Remember, James Hinchcliffe has 30 laps on those tires. Briscoe has 11.
Bit of a slide job there by Power. Really stuffed it in there in turn 3.
Now Hinchcliffe to 3rd. Let's see now, Briscoe can make the move at the bottom of the racetrack in turn number 3. Yes, he will. So it's Dixon, Target Chip Ganassi Racing, Power and Briscoe, Team Penske running 2nd and 3rd here at Texas Motor Speedway. Scott Dixon with the lead here with 151 laps in the books. Will Power running 2nd, then Briscoe, Kanaan, and Hinchcliffe. Hinchcliffe has lost 5 positions since the restart. He was a leader at that time. And right now, the point separation is 14. Power with a 14-point advantage on Scott Dixon. That's Elio Castroneves running with Joseph Newgarden in the blue and black car, and Graham Rahal right behind Elio. Now, those two guys, again, are the last cars on the lead lap. Castroneves is 10th, and Rahal is 11th. We also saw Tony Kanaan while we were in break past Hinchcliffe, and here's how that was accomplished.
Bob, what that does, when you have Kanaan moving up to 4th spot, it puts those 4 cars all that pitted 1, 2, 3, 4. So it turns out we're so used to looking at fuel strategy, but Tommy, we said at the beginning of this race, this may be a race where you're doing tire strategy, thinking about, I want new tires, even if you sacrifice track position, because it all comes back to you.
Now, so I was about to say any advantage that Hinchcliffe might have gained by staying out is gone away, but there should be only one more stop. If we get a late race caution with a dash for the checker, he's got one more set of stickers than all 4 of these cars. So the only way this could swing back to his favor, everybody will have one more stop for fuel, but if he has the option of coming in and putting stickers on towards the end if we get a short dash to the checker.
Tony Kanaan participated in Tony Stewart's Prelude to the Dream, in which they raced dirt modifieds. Now, Kanaan finished 4th in his heat race, but in the big race at Eldora Speedway, Kanaan finished in 22nd position out of 26. But another example of Kanaan and the versatility that he has. Castroneves up high from Hildebrand, and Castroneves is in 8th.
Guys, you know, one thing I love about watching this right now is TK's telemetry. He's got a lift. We're back to driving racetracks. I think that's fantastic. The guys here that are doing a good job have just been walking that tightrope all day long. Good news for TK. He's got 500 guests from Mauser, his title sponsor here in Dallas, watching tonight. So looking for a big result.
And I believe I said dirt modifieds. They were dirt late models at Eldora Speedway.
Bobby?
Yes.
The Eldora race, Tony Kanaan put Danica Patrick in the wall. I had to tell you that.
I didn't want to say that.
Well, I had to tell you.
Were you there, Robin?
No, Tony Stewart would not let me in the track.
Oh, okay. There's a separation between first and second. It's 0.7 of a second on the clock. Matter of car lengths for Scott Dixon. And we understand that James Hinchcliffe might be pitting. He last pitted on lap 114. It's lap 159.
Well, if he pits now, let's hope that that's not accurate, because if he was to pit, he would not make it to the end. So he would not be on a single stop strategy like everyone else we assume is. That is definitely, he's pitting. So he has, unless there's a lot of yellow, he has 2 stops in his future.
Castroneves passes Justin Wilson, and Castroneves now is 6th. On the right is James Hinchcliffe. Kevin?
Jan was right. It was lap 114 when Hinchcliffe came in, so unless they get a yellow, he's almost certainly not going to be able to make it the rest of the way on one more stop. He does have 2 sets of stickers left. Tire wear is a concern for everybody. Will Power, a moment ago, just told you've got to save your tires. Hinchcliffe in and out, but he's going to need some help to finish up front.
You hit the nail on the head there, Kevin. That transmission to Will Power, we have to go full distance. Obviously, Hinchcliffe didn't want to stop now, but the tires had gotten to the point where he was giving up so much ground. So it'd be interesting to watch both Power and Dixon, for that matter, to see if they can go as far as they need to make their strategies work.
Not a bad night for Team Penske so far. 2nd, 3rd, and 5th. With 66 laps to go.
Lap 2 is on, lap 2.
Now, what would be disastrous for Hinchcliffe is if you get a yellow between now and when those guys stop.
Yeah.
That's Catherine Legg that Scott Dixon is passing. Top 5 with 163 complete. Dixon, Power, Briscoe, Kanaan, Castroneves. The Firestone 550 on NBC Sports Network is brought to you by IZOD. Go to IZOD.com to see the latest in IZOD color and performance. And by TireRack.com. Research, buy, deliver, install. Tire Rack.
Ed Carpenter's in the pits. He was running second, dropped only a ninth. His car was really loose. Put new tires on and send him back out and hope for the best. Derek Walker said he's been struggling all night but driving a hell of a race.
Indeed, he has. That was a nice, clean pit stop by Carpenter. 60 miles an hour is the pit road speed. And look at this. This is a battle for the lead. Power to the inside of Scott Dixon. And Power takes the lead.
Clear.
Wow, where did he come from?
I think something might be. I think it's Dixon dropping off more than it is Power coming forward. I think something is amiss with Scott Dixon.
Prior lap was 198. That lap 190.
Yeah, something has gone wrong with Dixon.
Well, it's shaping up to be virtually a flawless night.
Yeah. And second consecutive win for Mr. Dixon. And of course, it also is a big points move because now Will has a 34-point advantage on Dixon. And that would appear to be going the wrong direction for Scott.
201, good job.
Dixon's speed's back up. That lap was 201. So I'm wondering, I saw James Jakes right in front of him. I'm wondering if he had got held up for a couple laps.
I think we just asked Mike Hall if we could talk to him, and he shook his head no. He's he's busy.
I knew the answer, but I thought I'd give it the old college try.
Oh, he's in the wall.
No. Okay, so there was something amiss.
Wow. Solid hit. He led 133 of the first 174 laps, and it comes to an end for Scott Dixon. Bit of a fire at the left rear of the car.
Taking the steering wheel off. He had gotten up into some traffic again.
And he crawls out under his own power. That's the most important thing. He led every lap at Belle Isle last week. He led 53 laps at the Indianapolis 500. Finishing second, he had led 8 laps at Brazil. Let's see what happened.
Behind James Jakes.
Oh, big wiggle.
Yep. He was right down by the white line, but also in turbulent air.
Guys, I was just talking to Ricky Davis, his chief mechanic, and he just said, I said, Ricky, on the last stop, you guys didn't make any changes. He was happy with the car. What happened? He said, man, like everybody else, just getting loose, you know, as the tires are wearing out. So this car, this setup window is very narrow, and tough way for Scott to end.
Down really low. Looks like he might have touched the apron.
Tommy, he did touch the apron. What he was doing was trying to stay low to get air on the front wing from the car in front of him. And then to do that, he had to be right on the white line.
Pits are open, Townsend. Here comes Power, Briscoe, Kanaan, Castroneves, Wilson, Rahal. Top 6. Go to work on Will's car.
Reset your fuel. Watch Billy. You have Marco coming in your bow here. Marco's coming in. Marco's coming. Wait. Go.
And the race on pit road, and it looks like Will Power just barely got out in front of his teammate Ryan Briscoe, who had the advantage of the first pit stall. So Power the leader here at this point, and we should be able to go the rest of the way.
Yeah, they're within their window, aren't they, for the last pit
You
stop?
can get to the end now on fuel, but we have to remind ourselves, when you see something like that happen to Scott Dixon, again, would you want to come back again for tires? Because that's the issue tonight.
Yep. All right, Scott Dixon has crashed, bringing out another caution period here at Texas Motor Speedway. He's okay. Power is the leader. Saw Dario Franchitti and James Jakes make pit stops, and we're under caution because of Dixon's accident. Robin?
Scotty, hell of a job all night. You're coasting along. What happened?
We just got loose. You know, we had been getting loose at the end of stints, and I think, you know, for the last 10 laps of our stint, I just was really fighting to hold on. And that time there, I kind of got into the middle of a few people that were trying to lap, trying to get back up to power there. And just got in, turned in, the rear just started to slide, and then it kind of dipped down onto the apron and then shot around again. So, yeah, I feel bad for the guys. We had a really good car. I think we had a good chance to win here tonight. We led a lot of laps, but I guess it wasn't the way it was meant to be.
Was the key keep the tires under you, like we thought it was for the race?
Yeah, it's definitely, the balance is changing a lot when you got new tires. You know, you got quite a bit of understeer, and then for me at least, it was going to pretty big snaps, you know, off of 2 and then also going into 3. So just gutted, man, gutted for everybody.
You were long gone, but you didn't see behind you. There was a lot of pretty good racing behind you. Were you happy with the changes and racing this car?
I am, because, you know, you really have to drive the car. It's really tough to wheel the car around here. And, you know, for maybe the first 5 or 10 laps, you know, when you're out front and in clean air, the tires are pretty good. They hang on really well. And then, you know, you really have to start driving. You have to start moving the weight. You have to start using, you know, your roll bars. So I think it's a good way of racing. You know, obviously we didn't have a good result tonight, but I think it's a much better way to race.
Thanks. Scotty, Townsend Bell.
Yeah, Robin here with Kevin Kalkoven. Historically not the biggest fan of mile and a half, I don't think, but how you feeling about these tracks tonight?
Well, I'll tell you what, Tony is just an animal. He's driving brilliantly. We had 2 pit stops that weren't the greatest, but nothing seems to phase him. He just drives.
We got about, I don't know, 46, 47 laps maybe once we go green. You think he can hang on to this thing the rest of the way?
Dang, Tony, absolutely.
Thanks, Kevin.
Kevin Kalkoven, Tony Kanaan's car owner. There is Elio Castroneves, who is currently in 4th position, but he was not a happy race driver after qualifying. And these were the emotions that he had after qualifying. He started tonight's race in 15th position, but it was obvious that he had some very serious concerns about the car. And but he's doing a great job tonight, running in 4th position. Simon Pagenaud back on the lead lap. There are 9 cars on the lead lap. Ed Carpenter is not in 10th position. 48 laps to go here at Texas Motor Speedway. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Getting set for resumption of racing here at Texas Motor Speedway. We're under our 4th caution of the evening for Scott Dixon's accident. That has dropped him out of the race. It is going to probably drop him in the point standings.
From the start, Rubens Barrichello, of course, did not start. And then right off the bat, we saw we were going to have tonight a big wiggle by Dario Franchitti. And then, unfortunately, a wiggle for one of his teammates, Charlie Kimball, that did not end well for Charlie Kimball, being in retirement. And Franchitti in so much trouble, he went down 1, then 2 laps, while Sato had this odd crash well past the exit of turn number 2. Also trouble for Ryan Hunter-Reay, an injector problem, and Oriol Servia, both Chevys, both with that type of trouble. The 3rd Chevy in this case, Viso, running into trouble as well. And now most recently, Scott Dixon saying the car got loose later in the stint, and kablamo.
And this is Dixon's first DNF by accident since Toronto 2010. It's only his 5th DNF by accident since July of 2005. 9 cars on the lead lap. Will Power is the leader. And here we go once again. And here comes Ryan Briscoe. Whoa, Briscoe to the outside, challenging his teammate. And Tony Kanaan looks on from 3rd spot.
Wow, Tony's gold. They touched. There was touching for sure.
Whoa.
That's why they put rear wheel guards on these cars. That would have cut a tire in the past, but that can rub and keep going.
Front wing is...
Guys, his front wing is definitely down. They got the spare getting ready to go. There was contact.
Oh, man.
That might get a review from Bo Barfield. Hard to tell from the onboards where the relative movement's coming from.
Down, Tony. Your front wing is broken. Back it down and pit.
And he does.
Here comes Castro Neves.
Flat, Tony. Your front wing is broken.
That's Eric Cowden, his engineer, talking to him, telling him to back it down. They all know what happened to Conway in Indianapolis when he tried to turn into one of these corners with a broken front wing. But what I was trying to say is that wheel guard,
Here he comes.
kept from cutting a rear tire on the car ahead. So yes, Tony Kanaan paid a penalty because he rammed him, but the car ahead is still running full bore.
Wow, a tough break for Kanaan, who had such a great race going.
Comes up.
I'm pretty sure that was a reactive move by Power.
I can't argue with you, Tommy. That was reactive. TK is in pit lane for a new front wing, and if I were him, I'd be a little fired up right now. They're working on getting this thing loose. Still working it. It's off. That's actually a Barrichello front wing.
They already changed it once.
He's away.
Saw the disappointment on Kevin Kalkoven's face. Now it's Team Penske up front, running first and second.
And third.
Yeah, that's right. Castro Neves is now third. Rahal fourth. Wilson fifth.
Okay, Tommy, so let's review what Bo Barfield, what he has said, is that you cannot make any sort of move that's reactive to someone who's trying to pass you from behind. You can do something proactive, but not reactive. You think that was reactive?
Well, it was. But it's hard to tell from the onboards because you don't see it. But if you pay attention to the white lines, because if they're not moving relative to each other, but if you notice, when you look at the white lines, you can definitely see that Power moved over to block.
Boy, Justin Wilson is another driver having a great race. He's battling Rahal here for fourth.
Castro Neves going high.
Trying to pass his teammate, Ryan Briscoe.
Until that wing incident, it was 1, 2, 3, 4 for Chevrolet.
Power begins to move away a bit from Briscoe and the others.
Now we're going to have this will be a better view. There's no question about that. The plot thickens.
He chopped him. He definitely chopped him, and there was a very similar situation. That was Graham Rahal and Marco Andretti at Long Beach. Of course, completely different scenario, different speed, but in that particular case, that was called. And Graham Rahal, in fact, was on probation for that chop.
That's right, yep.
It's going to be a real test for Bo Barfield. No one likes to insert themselves into a race like this. But it's not him ruining the race. It's the move that ruins the race.
Car 12, a drive-through penalty.
There you go.
There it is.
Make it happen.
Barfield makes the call. A drive-through penalty for Will Power. He's going to give up the lead. Cindric doesn't like it.
Drive-through penalty, Will. We got a drive-through for blocking. This is lap. Drive-through this lap.
Wow. And you're going to lose a lap when this happens because you have to go for the section on pit road. You have to go 60 miles an hour. He'll go down a lap.
That gives the lead to Ryan Briscoe with Castro Neves second. Here's Will with the drive-through penalty. I don't think there was much argument about that. We all agree that that was definitely a reaction.
And let's be clear, Barfield has loosened the rules on the drivers. But the one thing he says is you cannot react, that you're allowed to defend. If Power would have gone to the bottom coming off a 2, no problem. The fact that he waited to he reacted to Tony's move is what they don't allow.
Yep. You can
proactive, not reactive.
Yeah, right. You can be proactive in everything.
Graham Rahal.
Rahal moves to second spot now.
Graham, who showed so much speed early, got caught a lap down.
Set him up, Graham. Set him up. Just like you've been doing.
That's Lee Orbaugh, his spotter. Whoa! And he was right up against the wall.
Okay, and this is Power just barely a lap down, trying to get his lap back.
Yeah, that's not for position. That's willpower, and he is not on the lead lap anymore.
Maybe one at a time.
He's running 8th, as a matter of fact. 7 cars on the lead lap. Let's watch Graham Rahal close in on Ryan Briscoe.
Also, look at Justin Wilson challenging Castroneves for 3rd. Remember how strong Wilson was on that one run.
And Wilson was also good at the end of runs. We even heard some other teams say, I think it was Mike Hall who said, you know, Wilson is good at the end of runs, and we're good at the beginning. This could be a very interesting finish for Wilson.
29 laps to go at Texas Motor Speedway. And Graham Rahal has taken the lead. Graham Rahal goes to the front with 29 to go.
When the 2 lead Ganassi cars falter, Chip Ganassi has another arrow in his quiver.
So you got enough time for the end of this thing.
Oh, you see how close he got to the wall.
And Lee Orbaugh reminding him, make sure you have enough tire for the end of this thing. In other words, you've got to maintain that grip for the end of the stint. Don't push too hard too soon. Here comes Wilson. Sonny's Barbecue moving forward quickly. And again, I think we can't forget about the fact how good he was at the end of a stint earlier in the run.
Hey guys, he's got Bill Pappas as Justin's engineer, one of the best guys in this paddock. And I just asked Dale Coyne, I said, any problems? He said, Justin hadn't said a word. He loves the way the car's handled.
There's Dale Coyne, car owner for Wilson and Jakes. And now Briscoe begins to come back a bit on Rahal.
Tell you what, Graham's using a lot of real estate.
I think Graham is knowing that he's got to back it down a little, the way it's drifting so high coming off those corners if he's going to have something under him at the end of the race.
Just be real patient and take care of your tires. We're right there. Good job.
Wilson is coming up, though, in 3rd. On the right, you see James Hinchcliffe with Castroneves and Hildebrand and Andretti.
The 2 Andretti cars coming to the front.
Marco is 6 laps down in 17th position after the long pit stop. Graham Rahal has only won 1 Eyes on IndyCar Series event. That was at St. Petersburg in 2008.
Good job.
Hinchcliffe is the fastest car on the track that lap.
Wow, he gets high. I know he's trying to just kind of let the car take its course, but he's flirting with a lot of danger up high.
You don't want to bind it. Every amount of bind you put into the car is taking a little bit of rubber off the right front or the right rear, depending on which end of the car it's dancing on. Theoretically, he's not getting anywhere near the white line. Theoretically, that should be the lowest amount of strain on those tires. He's covering more distance, but not shredding as much rubber off. Looks like things have kind of stabilized. Hinchcliffe again.
Those are going to be a long 22 laps for Graham Rahal.
And as if we get another wrinkle, we're getting reports of a little bit of rain, sprinkles.
Clear by 12.
Wow, that's not predicted.
Think about our tools, too. Just kind of stay on top of that car. Good job.
Castroneves up high. Power trying to hang in there, but he's pretty far back from getting his lap back. Again, not for position.
Prior to tonight, Graham Rahal has only led 1 lap this year. That was at Barber Motorsports Park. It's the 11th race that he's led in his career.
We're going to say 20 laps to go. No pit stops for fuel, that is.
And we are commercial free to the end of the race.
Hey, Bob, I'm just watching Graham. I'm down here in his pits, and it's quiet, and they're studying the data. I'm watching that radius grow every lap in that corner. In the middle of the corner, he's like 3 rows up now. He's just trying to nurse those tires by driving the biggest radius he can.
Especially in 1 and 2, running a little bit lower line in 3 and 4.
Here's Hildebrand and Castro Neves.
That's for position.
5th.
What an interesting race.
And a great race for J.R. Hildebrand.
This is definitely a race of perseverance.
And we've been on board with Hildebrand a number of times, and he has been turning right more than he wants to.
He just lifted big time there, too.
Remember, he started 23rd in this race. Here's Pagano and Elio trading positions. Pagano moves to 6th. Elio back to 7th now. He is the last car on the lead lap.
16 to go.
Rob Edwards on the radio to Simon Pagano.
Elio has lost the handle down in the 195-mile-an-hour range, while Graham Rahal running 206 up front.
Pagano at one time was a lap down, had the drive-through penalty for hitting a tire, but has come back to be on the lead lap and in 6th spot.
I'd like to remind you guys that I gave Simon his tutorial on Texas Motor Speedway a few weeks ago.
Oh, yeah? Good for you.
Heck of a job. 2nd oval. I mean, this guy's been learning really fast. He's a smart dude, and he's got a chance to be right in the top 3. Yep.
Lap traffic.
You're clear.
That's Catherine Legg. She is in 15th position, 4 laps down, but has hung in there all race long.
Hey, Bobby, her dad and Derek Legg just told me the weight jacker's been broken since lap 1, so she's probably hanging on.
Her big-time career actually started here at Texas Motor Speedway when she was invited to participate in what is now the Firestone IndyCar Series. Here's a battle for 2nd position. Wilson to the inside of Briscoe. Wilson and Briscoe. Wilson forces him up a little bit. And Justin Wilson is 2nd.
All right.
Boy, both of Dale Coyne's cars are in the top 10, 2nd and 10th. Less than 12 laps to go in this one.
So for a while there, it looked like Chevrolet was going to get their revenge.
Inside, you're clear. Now, right there in front of you now. 11 to go.
Now it's Honda, 1-2.
Hey, you guys, when Justin Wilson ran his first oval, it was in Champ Car, Milwaukee. Champ Car had 1 oval race a year. He led about 8 laps, and then he ended up finishing 2nd or 3rd. He got out of the car and he goes, thank God we don't do this very often. Now look at him. He's an oval meister.
Throw him in a car with Sonny's barbecue on the side, and he's an oval racer.
Nice and easy. You're doing great. Good job.
The advantage is 2.1 seconds that Rahal has over Wilson.
Well, I think it's worth saying that there's a big difference between oval racing when you're flat out and oval racing when you're having to work the cars in the corners. So this becomes a little more sort of road course-like when you're just not flat chat hanging on.
And Graham was one of the first yesterday after qualifying to say, I like it. I like the fact that the driver is back in control.
Yeah, don't forget, Bob, he also could have been on the pole. He had that hard limiter hit on his 2nd lap, but he's been fast since the get-go.
In the first session, when everybody was...
When you catch Conway, we're going to go to the high side of Conway.
His spotter, again, kind of getting him tuned in ahead, planning the moves.
Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great.
Only one top 10 finish this year for Graham Rahal. That was at Barber. He finished 4th.
You know, one of the things the spotter's probably doing is talking to Conway spotters, saying, hey, give us some love. We're coming. We're leading. You know, tell us where to go. You go one way, we'll go the other.
And that's why Lee was so confident, saying when we get to Conway, we're going to go on the high side, because they do exactly as you say, Townsend. They talk to each other.
He's actually easing away from Wilson a little bit.
Yeah, the interval has grown to almost 6 seconds. Now it's 8.
Got 2.4. I mean, the monitors.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Size here.
Yeah, 2.4. Just 6 laps to go for Graham Rahal. There's his father.
His father, of course, owns Takuma Sato's car right now.
You're clear.
Now that Sato's out, he's not a team owner. He's a father watching his son trying to win his first race since his very first race in the league at St. Petersburg.
Elio Castroneves a lap down now in 7th. You saw Graham pass him. Elio running a really high line all the way around the racetrack now.
Gap now 1.7.
Traffic cost him a little bit of his lead.
Yeah, Wilson was kept his momentum, so Wilson now 1.6. Wilson's closing in.
4 laps to go.
1.5. Look how much lower he's running through 1 and 2. Here comes Wilson.
Guys, Graham's last lap was 200 to a 203 with Wilson. He is closing quick.
1.4 seconds separate now. 1.3 separate first and second. Graham Rahal may be on his way to his 2nd victory in the Eyes on IndyCar Series. But Justin Wilson...
Whoa! He hit the wall! He hit the wall. Unbelievable!
Oh, no!
Keep it going there. Keep going, Graham. Nice save.
They want him to keep going. Normally, if you have contact,
He's got damage.
No way.
They go yellow. But Wilson's got to get past him before they go yellow. He's got to pass him in case they go yellow.
Justin Wilson takes the inside and passes Rahal for the lead with less than 2 laps to go. Rahal bumped the wall coming out of 4. And Justin Wilson will take the white flag. 1 more lap to go. Unbelievable that Justin Wilson is on his way to victory.
Okay, mate. 2 more turns.
What a turn of events for Graham Rahal, but what a gift for Justin Wilson, who hasn't won since 2009. And here's the checkered flag, and Justin Wilson wins at Texas. Rahal finishes 2nd. Briscoe is 3rd. Then Hinchcliffe, Hildebrand, and Pagano.
Hey, now you need to find your way to victory lane, buddy. Find your way to victory lane.
Oh, my goodness.
Was that ever shades of Indianapolis a year ago?
Yep, with J.R. Hildebrand. Well, it's Justin Wilson's 7th career win, his first ever on an oval. That was 44 races ago at Watkins Glen.
It was a hell of a job by all of you.
Hey, Bobby?
Yeah?
I'm with Dale Coyne. Now, you put the old band back together because Justin won your very first race at Watkins Glen with Bill Pappas. What do you say?
Justin's not supposed to be an oval guy. He's doing pretty damn good. No, it's great. You know, we had that in us 2 weeks ago at Indy, and it just didn't play out right, but it played out right tonight.
You know, I think Bill Pappas is one of those guys that people always know in the paddock. He's one of the best guys to have, and Justin's so calm. But this was a driver's track tonight. That's what those guys wanted.
Yeah, I mean, just putting everything together, it's been good. You know, Justin and I, we lost 2 years by being apart, but putting it back together this is what we get.
Does he get a discount to Sonny's Barbecue now?
Yeah, well, there's no Sonny's in Texas, but we're going to have to start building some here.
All right, congratulations, Dale. Back to you, Bobby.
My goodness, what a race.
Good job, buddy. Turn right. Go to your right.
Justin Wilson started 17th He led only 11 laps, but he led the most important one, and it's a heartbreak for Graham Rahal.
Your heart has to go out to Graham Rahal. He was running high where he had to. Fortunate to hang on for second after clouding the wall like that.
Yeah, he was.
Well, that car is strong because he definitely got into that.
Hey, Graham, I know you're fired up, buddy. It's a heck of a way to end. You dominated there at the end. What happened?
I just messed up, honestly. There's not much else to say. I just got a little... I didn't expect it, honestly. I went through that. I had the same amount of push that I had every other lap, and I just thought, okay, you know, just chase it through the corner. We're coming to the white flag or whatever.
So was it understeer that got you up into the fence?
Yeah, it just washed out a little bit, and it's my fault. I mean, there's not much else I can say, and you know, certainly really disappointed because obviously, you know, we had that one, and we worked really hard those last 50 laps to put ourselves in that position. Particularly after the first couple stints, the car was so loose, and I had several big moments, but this one could haunt me forever, that's for sure.
Best finish of the year, but not a happy Graham. Robin?
Ryan Briscoe, I just said, did you have any fun? He just kind of looked at me like, really?
I tell you what, I can't complain. I mean, all the drivers put their heads together at this race and said, we're going to run with less downforce, and we knew it was going to be hard, you know, so I thought it was a good result. It spread the field out. You really need to have a good handling car, and unfortunately I had the track position at the end and just didn't have a good enough car, so congrats to Wilson, I guess. Yeah. He went, wow. Bad luck to Graham for having that tyre going down, but you know, I had a good race, a bad pit stop, and then the last two stints I just had the tyres in the back go off so badly, and I tell you what, being loose around this track is not fun. And I spent the last 100 laps loose around here, so I'll take a third place.
All right, thank you, Ryan. Bobby?
Yeah, Briscoe was third, Hinchcliffe fourth, and Hildebrand was fifth. There is Kanaan talking to Will Power as Will got out of the car. He, of course, was penalized for blocking Kanaan. At that time, Will appeared to be on his way to victory. And Kanaan and Power talk it over. Wow. Kevin, let's go to victory lane and celebrate with Justin.
Justin Wilson has just been congratulated by his team owner, Dale Coyne. Their second win together. His best run in this league on an oval. He did finish second at Milwaukee in 2006. He'll get the Firestone hat. And the lanky British driver will climb out of the car. All 6'5" of him will uncurl, and he'll stand up and celebrate here at Texas Motor Speedway. An unbelievable win considering the circumstances with Graham Rahal seemingly in charge. He's going to go over and greet Bill Pappas. That's his engineer, the other big guy that we can see there. And a big hug with the rest of the crew. And Justin Wilson is a winner once again. That's his brother Stefan back there a little bit. He wants to say hello to everybody and thank this team as they have been, as Robin mentioned, reunited. Dale Coyne got the band all back together again. Justin, come over here. Come over here. Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah, it's just fantastic. You know, I just got to thank Bill and everyone who works at Dale Coyne Racing. They've worked so hard, some long hours trying to get ready. You know, Dale has put so much into getting us competitive, and I just can't believe we managed to pull this off. You know, the car was fantastic, and on the long runs, it just got better and better. As I saw people sliding around and knew I just had to hit my marks.
Did you see Graham situation developing? Did you see him slap the wall?
I saw him sliding more and more every lap, and I didn't think there was much chance, but then when I saw him hit the wall, I thought, okay, you know, it's time to go. It was four-wheel drifting all the way into 3, all the way out of 4. I mean, you were having to hang on out there.
You've been on the brink. You had a great run running in the top 3 or 4 in Indianapolis. Has this been coming?
Yeah, this was fantastic. You know, after Indy, I thought we were pretty strong there, but we just, you know, the car was better on long runs, and again tonight we're better on those long runs. So it was great. There was green all the way to the end.
How was the racing tonight?
I thought it was a lot of fun. You know, the cars weren't stuck, but you had to manage the tires and the grip, and you know, I had a blast out there.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's going to be a popular win. Justin Wilson here celebrating in victory lane, Bob.
Congratulations to Justin. Congratulations to the New Jersey Devils, who extend the Stanley Cup against the Kings. The post-race show is coming up next on the NBC Sports Network. They will extend the cup and go to another game. Well, remember now, during a pit stop, there was a problem. Simon Pagenaud comes in, hits a tire.
Justin Wilson, of course, had to be very much delayed getting into his box, and so he had to dig out of the hole, as we saw Pagenaud do as well. And again, a day certainly of perseverance, and wow, did it pay for Justin Wilson.
He lost 4 positions during that little exchange on pit lane, but comes home as the winner. Let's talk to TK.
Thanks, Bob. Tony, man, you look so strong there, trouble in pit lane, but you came back fighting. What happened with you and Will?
Well, first of all, I want to thank the boys, the Monza guys that did a great job here. We had a problem on the pit stop, and, and there Will just put the biggest block ever in the oval. And when we talk about safety, man, this is not cool. I mean, I went and talked to him. Obviously, we win and lose races. He talk about safety all the time. He's leading the championship. I know it was he had a big break because Scott didn't finish, but that move right there to me is unacceptable. So I talked to him. I said, God, man, we talk about safety. I could have put you in the wall and hurt yourself. So, I had a busy day, a busy night, but unfortunately that happened because I think we had a pretty good car. We could win this race.
At what point do you pull out the gun show and put him in a headlock?
Well, I mean, I said, you know what, on the last restart, as usual, I said, let's go for it. And then I did, and then he overreacted, and, let's go to the next one. Texas is over. Great job. Thanks to the fans. I mean, I think people had a lot of talk about it. Hopefully we had put a good race for them.
All right, Tony, thanks, bud. Tough night. Bob?
Yeah, Kanaan ended up in 11th position, 1 lap down. Great race. Justin Wilson is the winner over Graham Rahal, Ryan Briscoe, and James Hinchcliffe. The Firestone 550 on NBC Sports Network is brought to you by Firestone, the first name in Indy racing, and by Honda, an official vehicle of the IZOD IndyCar Series.
Back at Texas Motor Speedway, where Justin Wilson has won late after the final restart. Will Power was leading. Tony Kanaan trying to get the inside. Blocking was called on Will Power. He finishes in the 8th position. Tony Kanaan, Will, just said that that was unacceptable. What's your reaction as you see it now for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, I had Briscoe on the outside of me, and Tony took me by surprise. I feel bad for him because I ruined his day. I ruined it. He knocked his front wing off. He got a bloody, he had to come in and change it. So I feel bad for the guy. We ruined our own day. We had one of the best cars out there. But I have to say, it's the best racing I've ever had on an oval because you had to lift, you had to look after your tyres, you had to really drive the thing, moving around. I mean, that's the sort of racing that we need at these sort of tracks. I think it was great. I feel bad for my guys to bloody end up with the drive-through. I feel as though we could have quite easily won this race. But, experience.
All right, thank you, Will. Bob?
Will does hang on to the points lead by 36 over Dixon. Hinchcliffe jumps up 2 positions. Castro Neves lost 1. Pagenaud up 1. Franchitti down 2. And Justin Wilson, as the winner of this race, picks up 6 positions in the points and is currently 10th as we head for Milwaukee. Back in a moment.
All right, well, welcome back to Texas. Standing here with Jimmy Hinch. James, I'm looking up here. You finished 4th in the race tonight, moves you up to 3rd in the championship. Tell me how this was out there. There was a lot of hesitation about this new format. How was it for you?
A lot of question marks certainly coming in, but I think everybody did a great job. I think this shows, as a series, we can work together and really make the right formula, because it was hard to drive those cars, man, and you saw cars falling off, and, I mean, at the end, my car was so loose, we were holding on for dear life, and, I mean, it was still sort of scary in a way, but, like, old Texas, I guess this Texas you were worried about your car coming back in one piece. The old kind of racing here, you were worried about yourself coming back in one piece. So I think it was a good good show for the fans. Great result for the GoDaddy guys. Great in the pits all day. Just a solid result after what happened last week.
Great job. Bob, back up to you.
All right, James Hinchcliffe did finish in the 4th position, and here are the final results. The best season finishes for, obviously, Justin Wilson, who won the race. Graham Rahal records his best finish of the season, and Ryan Briscoe does likewise. J.R. Hildebrand equals his best finish. It came, his 5th place finish earlier came at Long Beach. There were a total of 7 leaders and 9 lead changes in this race, 4 caution periods for 32 laps. And once again, there were 6 cars on the lead lap at the end of the race. Well, that's all from Texas Motor Speedway. Congratulations to Justin Wilson. Congratulations to the New Jersey Devils, who won Game 5 in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Now let's send it to Liam McHugh.